Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and joining me tonight as always is Austin the Day Ghost.
What's up?
It's time for our Simpsons Season 5 overview. We've watched the entire season, I've taken buku notes, and we've got a lot to discuss, a lot to chat about. So first of all, I feel like I owe everybody a massive apology, or maybe this is just hilarious. I don't know. But I went back and I listened to the first 10 or 15 minutes of our last Simpsons overview, half of some kids' high school career ago. And I cringed as I heard myself say, sorry everybody that it has been a whole 2 years since our last overview. We'll make sure it's not 2 years until the next one. And would you believe it? It's been almost exactly 2 years.
Yeah, it's becoming the Simpsons movie joke. I won't wait 20 years to make another movie, and now it's going to be just over 20 years that the new one comes out.
Yeah, or that Weird Al joke, where he was like, whatever the years were between UHF and his fake biopic, and he was like, we make a movie every, like, 30-something years.
Yeah, it's like it.
So we're finally back. I don't feel like I can promise it won't be 2 years next time. Like I don't plan for that, but I don't think it would be right or fair for me to say that at this point. We have now averaged one of these a year since we started doing these, which is kind of hilarious.
What's funny is
because we skipped
I think
2
if you go
years
back to
between 3 and 4, and then 4 and 5.
I think if you go back to the first two, they're like 2 weeks apart because we did season 1, and you were like, "Oh man, like I'm so pumped to do season 2," and you just like shot through. And then since then, it's been 2 years, 2 years.
Well, people will say I'm making excuses when I say this, but if you want to hear a somewhat plausible explanation, I'll give you one. I actually started watching season 5 immediately after we finished 4. Hoping we could get to it a month or two after that, because I was actually really gung-ho about it. I had so much fun with 4. I was ready to just blow on and keep going. And I'm kind of in that headspace now with this, but I don't want to... Again, I don't want to promise
2 years,
anything.
2 years.
Well, what happened between 3 and 4 is my wife and I had twins, and what happened between 4 and 5 is we had another kid that we weren't expecting to have. And with the twins, that ultimately was planned, but I didn't know that we would have twins, or when we made that show, or just how difficult that whole thing was going to be. And then we've had Autumn now, and there's no watching a whole season of television when you're taking care of a newborn. Like, it's just not possible, especially if you're taking a lot of notes. And this is a show that I have to write a lot of stuff down for, and so that's part of it. Because the thing is, if I had come in and if I winged this and I didn't write very much down, and I just blew through it, and didn't pay close enough attention, then you guys would come back and you'd be like, "Well, Cap, you weren't ready to do that show yet." Instead, I'd be like, "Well, what? Like, there's no other way to do it right now." And so anyway, that's why I waited. This one, some of it's that we had the baby, and some of it is I don't know where those 2 years went. Like, it doesn't feel like it's been that long to me. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is wild.
I don't even understand that.
But now we're on to my favorite era of the show, which is the David Merkin era.
Yeah. Well, and he's just 5 and 6, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then does he ever come back?
I think a couple of the old showrunners do like stuff here and there.
Because I know,
I think especially in 9.
So I read that Al Jean comes back and is the sole showrunner for 13, but I don't know how long he wrote that out. But I know he comes back
until like just recently.
Oh, really? He stuck around all that time?
No, so I think part of the issue of why it like stales off for so many people is that we used to jump every 2 seasons, and then Al Jean is there from like 13 to like 32.
That's crazy.
I had nothing against that guy, but like I do feel like you maybe needed a couple more voices to come in.
Well, I just feel like
refresh it a little bit.
You get burnt out with something that's about like making you laugh every 5 seconds. I just think it'd be really hard to. I'd feel like you'd either want a break or you just want to keep like bringing in new blood for writers. Like even if you're the guy on top keeping everything going, keeping the trains
which is a
running
big
on
thing
time.
this season is that we're picking on a bunch of new writers because people have dropped off.
Well, and it does. You can kind of feel how much more of a well-oiled machine it is just in the work and in the consistency of the episodes. And we talked about how great 4 was, but 4 seems almost brilliant despite itself, because it seemed like there was more kind of turmoil going on behind the scenes, and a lot of people kind of glad to leave by the end of the season, and all of that. And this season, it seems like it's maybe a ship that's more righted than 4.
Yeah, and this season, I think you could just label as bigger, bolder, uncut. Like every plot is so huge. Like this season in general is big.
Yeah, well, I bet when this was on, there was kind of that fear, and obviously with the big one with Homer going to space, with the Space Homer. There's that fear for the writing staff, but I wonder if there might have even been that from the fans of how do you go any bigger than this? Like are we? This season's great, but will we jump the shark pretty soon after this? I wonder how much of a concern that was.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'd say up to this point, like Marge versus the Monorail is probably the most important episode, just in terms of what we're looking at this season and kind of building off of. Like, there's a lot of just giant plots, and especially really utilizing like the world, and like there's like 8,000 characters, and everybody's set up now, so you can just have somebody come in for a quick 5-second gag and like kind of jump around from person to person for a bit, and there's a lot of stuff like that.
Well, we talked with season 4 how it relies a lot more on cutaway gags than they had before. I have in my notes a section for different episode types. We've done that at least in second season. I can't remember if we did this for the first season. One of those episode types is or not even just types, but like major things that tend to happen in episodes. One of them is past and future, and I used to write every episode with flashbacks in that section, and I quit doing that for this season because there's so many just quick cutaway flashbacks. We weren't doing that before this to anything like the degree we do this season. It's like every other episode or better that you'll get maybe even just a 10-second or less cutaway gag to something that happened in Homer's past or in Marge's past, or we do it multiple times with Burns.
Yeah, and we like to open with that too this season.
And those I wrote down when they seemed to be more substantial and kind of influence the episode. Like that first big Mr. Burns episode bookends with it, where you get a flashback and then you get a flash forward.
Yeah,
great.
Well, and because that one, that's Rosebud. That might be like the best Mr. Burns episode. It's got like everything you could possibly want in a Mr. Burns episode. It's so good.
I agree, and yet I think he's more evil in his last big episode. When he adopts Bart, some of that stuff was really disturbing to me, like in a really funny way. But I was reminded about just how evil this character is supposed to be. You have a joke. I want to say before that, it might have been right after. I always give this disclaimer. All of this starts to blend together when you watch these in rapid succession. This kind of show is weird to binge. Although, I will say, Season 5 binges way better than any of the rest of these so far. Like, I loved 4 with individual episodes, but I had to kind of pace myself with that. This was easier to binge. Like, I kind of enjoyed 4 or 5 in a row, and was seeing a lot more kind of fun connective tissue and in things it was doing intentionally, I think, unless it was just happy accident sometimes, with episode order, where it would, I'm getting ahead of myself, but this season especially likes to play around a lot with meta gags about how it's a episodic weekly show that has to reset the status quo every time, and it'll do fun things like in an episode where you'd think the status quo would have to change massively, and then they'll hilariously contrive a reason for it to wend its way back around to normal by the end, and then the very next episode might screw around with the fact that last week we monkeyed with status quo, but we're right back to status quo again. And the big example that I'm thinking just off the top of my head is the Sweet Seymour Badass Song episode, where he and Bart become friends, and then they're not allowed to be friends by the end of the episode because Bart's going to go back to school, or because he's going to get his job back, and Bart refuses to do his homework. And then the very next episode is the only one in the season where Skinner is after him hardcore for skipping class, and I'm like, they did that on purpose.
Well, there's a weird thing, and I noticed it not even while watching it, but just going back afterwards and looking through the episode list, which is that they really make you wait for the Bart episodes. Like, this season's very much the Homer show,
do.
And then you get to the end, and it's like Bart episode, Bart episode, Bart episode, Bart episode. It's like, oh, they like put them all like right there.
Yeah, there's two major ones earlier in the season, and then you're right at the end they start really stacking them, and I think the best ones are actually the couple they did earlier.
Okay, yeah. With Bart's Inner Child and Bart Gets Famous. Or I guess one of them's the Boy Scout one too.
That's
earlier.
You're right. I said two. That's the third one, and all three of those I think are three of the strongest episodes in the season. Although it would be really easy to say like half to 2/3 are the strongest episodes of the season. Like I said, the quality is so high that nearly any episode somebody wanted to say was their favorite or that they felt like was the best episode of the season, I couldn't really fight you on very hard.
No, this is very much an album that has no skippable songs for me. Like
that's a great way to put it. I like that a lot.
It's such a strong season.
So I don't know where you want to start, Austin. We've got our categories. I've got a bunch of like individual themes I want to talk about. And I thought we could kind of, like we did last time, instead of going episode to episode, we might want to just talk about the whole thing on the whole as we go and just kind of hit beats through the categories. I guess the first thing to ask you is just if there's any interesting kind of background behind the scenes stuff that you want to talk about.
I mean, the big one was just that, we changed showrunners, and I know one thing that he kind of coins is the term screw the audience joke, which is like a subversion thing, and they do that a ton this season. So that's something like you'll set up like a very obvious punchline, and then it just won't do that at all. Like one of the big ones, just off the top of my head that's coming to mind from like one of the later episodes, is when Bart buys that animation cell, and you have like the knock at the door. He's like, oh, it's the mailman. He opens the door, and the guy punches him, and he's like, oh, stop doing this. Goes back to the door. Guy punches him. It's also not the mailman. And he comes back, and he's like, oh, I don't want to get punched again. And finally he opens the door, and the mailman's like, here's your package. And then punches him, and is like, that's for making me wait.
Those gags always come in threes. It didn't occur to me that there was like another layer to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something that Merkin's a big fan of, and is like very prevalent through his seasons.
Well, like I said, we really like talking about the popularity of the show now within it, and I think that's handled in a real fun, meta, and even classy sort of way, where like it would be so easy for the show to get kind of full of itself, and I feel like it manages to talk about that stuff without acting like big man on campus now that the show's as popular as it is. And we got a taste of it the previous season, where we were already starting to deal with the Bartmania of it all. But this season does even more with that, with the episode that where everybody decides to act like Bart, and it's dealing with whether it's a good idea for that kid to be a role model, and they never really intended for that to happen, and so they're commenting on that, and I like that they have kind of a big moral at the end of an episode of why it's a bad idea to live, as a Bart Simpson, that you don't want to just do whatever you want to do at any point, and I try to find shortcuts for everything, and like I said, never intended to be a role model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. And I think, even from season 2, they're talking about the Bartmania thing, but more indirectly. Like, it's more just, let's humanize this character. While here, like you said, it's just, we're going for the meta thing and, like, really making fun of that craze.
And there's some fun kind of self-deprecating stuff where the show starts as more of a parody of sitcoms overall, and it still will hit sitcom tropes. But at this point, I feel like it's almost subverted the genre, or like almost gone beyond the genre, where like it's very much its own thing now. And instead of going, what's the big sitcom premise we can play around with this time, it's what have we not done with these characters yet? What have we not mined a lot yet with the world we have? And so like it's all about world building now. And when we do more like tropey stuff, it's and like you can trace back some of the tropes, obviously, and you can say, well, some of the stuff didn't start with The Simpsons, but a lot of the tropes, when it used to be more sitcom stuff, now it's what we're doing. And so it's jokes about how, again, we have to reset every week, and how we have characters with catchphrases that maybe we lean on too much. And again, like, we can make fun of lots of other TV that does that. Like, that's real prevalent in SNL and all kinds of other things, but the show is absolutely guilty of it, and they almost wear it like with a badge of honor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and specifically this season has just a ton of subversive endings where, like you said, we're making fun of like the weekly thing. We're also just making fun of sitcom endings and not having a direct moral, even if we stop to talk about what it is. But it's like, oh, they didn't actually learn anything. A lot of episodes end with stuff like that.
They do a lot of that this season. Like, we've already talked about that in previous seasons, where you'll have, and I don't remember which they are now, but where you'll have like maybe one episode that does that, where you'll get to the end and it's like, what was this episode about? And you'll go down the family line and they'll each throw out one, and then somebody will be like, maybe it wasn't about anything at all, or something to that effect. And this season does lots of different variations on that.
Yeah, exactly. Or you'll get something like in Homer and Apu, like in the middle of the episode, they're like, "Oh, like it's over. We can, we can finish. Like it's all done." Oh, it's like the second act. Like there's still more. And then at the end of the episode, we do it again where they hug Apu, and they're like, "Oh, wait, we still have like 10 seconds left.
What are we gonna do?"
I'll just hug him again.
Yeah, that was a nice bit where right in the middle, Homer's like, "This ended quicker than normal."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just a ton of that this season.
So this isn't a season that introduces a lot of new characters. I've got a list of real minor characters that apparently come back, and some of them I wasn't even real familiar with, so I had to look up whether they were recurring. And so it was harder this time for me to tell when you had guest characters and when you had like new recurring. Because you'd have characters that you think would maybe come back, or maybe be like not necessarily yearly recurring, but that would be more than just like a one episode return. And then I look them up and come to find out they don't come back that much.
Yeah, we're getting to a point where we have to phase out the favorite new character category, because we're getting to a point where that's going to happen less and less. And we only have a couple this season, like you said. They're all pretty minor. The most major one overall is Cletus, and Cletus has a very, very small role in his introduction here.
Yeah,
he doesn't even have a name yet.
There are some minor characters that we hadn't used a lot yet that become more prevalent this season, I guess. Mm-hmm. But not a lot of
there's definitely
introductions. Because like we said, with world building, this show has really cemented itself now. Like, it is at this point the thing that you think of when you think of the show. And I would argue that like 4 had gotten there, but like it was still doing a little, laying some groundwork. So I was
Yeah.
comparing it a lot to Star Trek: The Next Generation, in its growing pains and like where it finds itself, in our last show, and I think this is very much like TNG season 5. Like they're almost lined up precisely like TNG is, where like 3 is finally where that show finds itself with TNG. But not until like kind of the middle toward the end, and then 4 is really really solid and starts allowing a little bit more like threads through episodes, even though that show's never fully serialized. And then 5 is when it's just like hitting it out of the park almost every episode. I feel like The Simpsons has almost exactly that pattern. The only difference is
sure.
TNG has a really bad first season, and Simpsons has a rough first season but funny episodes. Like it's still worth going back to.
I think it's a fine first season, yeah. And then season 2 is really good.
Yeah. And 2 and the other big difference between TNG 2 and Simpsons 2 is, I mean, the thing they have in common is they both look a little different still than the rest of that show will. But the difference is 2 with TNG is still kind of struggling, but it's got those really good standout episodes. And The Simpsons is more of what I wish that show had continued to be, which I've said over and over again. One category I didn't have as much for season 5 that I have in the past is legitimately heartwarming moments, because like
there's very few.
They're there, there's a few here and there, but it's funny. Like I think this is the strongest season overall, and it's impressive because I want more of a blend of the quirky, sometimes cynical comedy, and a character-driven show where I can really like and care about and sympathize with these characters. And 5 makes me not care as much about that. Like I find myself much more okay with like what this thing has turned into now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me with
like it's a lot more about the parody and the I'm not even minding just how pop culture the thing has gone now.
Yeah. No, with the heartwarming things, I really only had 2 where I was like, these are the only 2 that I think it really could be for me at least, which is just the ending of Last Temptation of Homer, which isn't especially heartwarming, but it's what I have to work with. And then I also really like Bart and Skinner's relationship in that in their episode together.
That one's on
badass song.
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of us. I'll read that when we get to that category. I guess we can go ahead and just start going down categories if you want to, Austin.
Yeah, we can do. It's up to you. Sorry, I thought that's what we were doing. So
no. I just
my bad.
I just wanted to talk more in kind of an overview way before we started doing that.
No, I mean we still can.
Before we get to our best ofs and things, I want to go through themes and then just episode types. So I'll run through my notes real quick. Austin, feel free to throw stuff in that you think of as we go, because I know I probably wrote more for some of the stuff than you did, but so I try to come up with what I'm finding are major themes that will kind of wend their way through the show. Like they'll come back some. There's maybe a couple in here that are more one big episode than others, but where the theme stuck out enough because it was a major enough episode that you'd probably still remember it, even if it's not informing the rest of the season all that much. With Homer's Barbershop Quartet, you've got the idea of fleeting fame. I think you kind of have that again. You absolutely have that again with Bart Gets Famous, certainly. So that's a recurring theme.
Yeah, absolutely. And show-wise, Barbershop Quartet is the start of the weird thread that, like, the one thing that Homer's good at is writing music.
Yes. And I have a list that I'll get to later of nods to that post Barbershop Quartet where we will keep going back and reminding you that Homer is actually a musician. That keeps happening.
Yeah, well, if you track the whole show, he has the weirdest musical career. especially later on when you find out that even before this, he was Nirvana. Like,
What?
and that's not an episode that people like, but it's still just like a weird,
Oh.
like, I don't know. Weird Al's in that episode, which is great, but
Well, and they're also. Is that the only one he's in, or does he show up multiple times?
he's in at least two. I think that's his first one though, because he shows up kind of in the mid to late teens. I think is when he pops in.
Because I feel like I've seen one with him, but I couldn't tell you which one.
Yeah, yeah, because there's one where he's like actually there in person, and then in that one specifically, he's just on TV doing a parody, and he's doing a parody of Nirvana's "Rape Me," which is really funny because it's like the last song you could imagine Weird Al
That's
doing a parody of.
That's awesome.
So that's great.
I'm jumping around a bit, but one thing I now that we're talking about it, or now that I'm thinking of it, I want to mention is, as I've talked about before, I saw this show a lot as a kid, but never watched it in any kind of an order. So I just saw it whenever it was on TV, and much to my mom's chagrin. And it would, there were certain episodes that would just pop up all the time that you saw it like 115 times, and then other episodes that you'd maybe completely somehow miss. And because it's been so long, watching back through this season, there were episodes that I don't know if I've seen and just forgot because it's been so long, or if I had never seen them. But there were actually far fewer episodes that jumped out at me that I remembered from this season than even 4. It's like for whatever reason, the Fox affiliate when I was a kid was showing season 4 a lot more than 5, I guess. But then what's weird is Boy Scouts in the Hood. The first 10 minutes of that episode came back to me like a Disney movie I had on repeat as a kid.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So that one was a really weird experience, where the thing with like the slushy machine, and they're kind of on drugs, and then the Swiss Army knife. The last 10 minutes of that didn't come back to me at all. But the start of it,
oh, that's really funny.
yeah, it was really weird. But the start of it was like, or at least, or almost the first half of that episode was almost like a song I had heard a million times.
Yeah, and that one starts. There's a couple of these this season, of course, but that starts a big meme with the Homer dancing with the sugar people when they're playing the Archie song.
Oh yeah,
yeah, which is funny. There's some really creative videos on YouTube where people have like edited that into different parts of the show. It's some great stuff.
But yeah, some of these I didn't remember at all. Like March and the Lamb, I know I'd seen at least a couple times. Bartender Child, I didn't remember, and I really loved that one.
Yeah, and also we should probably say that's another Albert Brooks episode, and of course he's done a couple episodes and is the bad guy of the movie. Like he just kind of comes in now and then. I think he's had 4 or 5 roles across the show. I mean, he's always great.
Rosebud, I had seen a few times. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of weird going back to this because I expected more of them to jump out at me. But that was a really fun experience too, because like I said, the quality's so high that it was kind of cool just being surprised by stuff. And
yeah, and this season and season 6 both, like when I was younger, just had them on DVD, were like the 2 seasons I went back to the most, and was just kind of always watching through those 2. So like this is the stuff I know super well.
yeah, is that like this entire season? Like, will you go back and watch this one front to back, or do you kind of cherry pick episodes?
So it's been a while since I've done like a full, just watching in order watch through. I tend to just kind of jump around now, especially with like Disney Plus. Like it's a lot easier to do that than it was on DVD. So I tend to do that more so. But I don't know. I'll probably do like another watch just straight through at some point.
I was just wondering if there were any episodes from this season, given that this is your favorite era, that you tend to skip or you just hadn't seen in a long time.
Not really. I mean, I guess there's maybe some that I go back to more than others, but like I said, this is a season I don't think has any real like skippable ones or like any that I'm disinterested to see. My worst episode of the season is very much I don't know. I guess it's this. Like, it's maybe my least favorite. I don't know.
I had the same thing, and I kind of wonder if we end up picking the same one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see.
Although I would love
no fluff.
if the one I wrote down, again, begrudgingly, I don't think there's a bad episode this season. But
yeah.
I would love
best episode that's...
Say again?
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would love it if the episode I wrote down on my worst ends up being like one of your favorites. Like, hey now! You can't write that one!
I hope it's my best, because I have a real weird best one.
It's not predictable.
No one will agree with.
It's not like Monorail. It's not the predictable one.
No, because the one that everybody loves from this season, I would say more than any other, is probably Cape Fear. Like that's probably like the big obvious one this season.
Well, I should say right now that's winning the poll for the commentary at the end of the show, and I forgot to mention that. But you've still got a little time if you want to vote in that. We'll leave the poll open all the way to the end, all the way until we get to the commentary. But right now it's Cape Fear. That is probably what we'll end up watching.
It's funny. It's always the Sideshow Bob episodes whenever he's in.
That's all we get to watch. We'll have a collection of Sideshow Bob commentaries that we could then put together as one video to upload later, one compilation video.
Exactly.
Well, I was kind of worried that would happen with Treehouse, and we should probably veto. I didn't think to do that this time. We should probably veto the Treehouses until we get to a certain era, because we've done blind commentaries on a good number of this era of them anyway.
Yeah, which is what I thought too. I probably should have checked with this one. I think I just kind of went, I don't think we did this one, but we probably did when we did that watch party. I just don't remember.
I thought we did, but you know what? I'm almost positive we did.
I know for sure we did next season's Treehouse, so we can veto that one.
Well, is next season's not my favorite?
No. The next season's Treehouse is The Shining.
Oh, okay.
The one that you love most, I think, is season 8.
Oh, is it that far? Okay, with the Poltergeist parody.
Yeah, which technically isn't a Poltergeist parody, but there's like parts of it in it.
Yeah, well, there's enough Poltergeist in it that I can just say that for shorthand.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, sure, you could say it's the one with 3D Homer, or it's the one with the erotic cake shop, but
yeah. Well, I just mean because I know it's specifically a parody of a Twilight Zone episode, but I don't know like what it's taking from that. Yeah,
I either didn't know that or I'd forgotten about that. I'm sure when we did a commentary on it, you brought that up, and I knew it in the moment there.
It's all good. I mean, like I said, there's probably Poltergeist in it. I just don't know if some of that stuff is also from that Twilight Zone episode.
So this isn't really a theme, but I wrote this in the section, so I'll bring it up now. You mentioned the way the episodes are structured this season and how the stories get a bit more complex. I talked a lot in previous shows about one of my favorite things about the show is it will open with an idea that you'll think will be the premise of the whole episode, and then it'll pivot at some point, and that makes the show really unpredictable. And even if that's the formula of your show, it still remains unpredictable because you never know. Like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, but you don't know how it's gonna change. And sometimes it will kind of actually start with the thing the whole episode will be about. But even at this point, they're still doing that. But I think it's even more sophisticated. Where they'll pivot 2 or 3 times in one show.
Yeah, there's a couple places where we'll get it in like the second act as opposed to the beginning, where we do just kind of shift around way more than you would think.
It's just crazy what they can get done in a 22-minute episode, and with
especially bringing in new writers. Like you would think that you'd maybe have some kind of wonkier stuff where it's like, we're not used to writing this show yet, but not really.
Yeah, well,
Not that it's all new writers,
that's
but
probably
like,
one
you
of
know
the
what I mean.
things. Say again.
Not that it's like all new writers, but you know what I mean. Like you would think that there'd be like some of that.
Well, that's
some
why
training wheels.
That's why I think it was maybe a smoother season to make. I mean, it's hard to tell, but it just kind of feels that way. And the way the producers and writers talk about it, it seems like maybe that's the case. But I didn't go to any commentaries or anything for this season. I wish I still had my discs. I got rid of those at one point, and I shouldn't have done that because I didn't know we were going to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's actually stopped making those, but
that's the thing that I love about the show, and it just really keeps you guessing, even more so this season. I keep bringing up Bart's inner child, but that episode, it has Bart in the title, and he doesn't even really feature much until 10 minutes in, and then it becomes very much about the whole group, about like all four of the mains.
Yeah, because that's one that's not about him at the beginning. It starts almost as like a marriage crisis episode, because there's also a few places where we kind of springboard into other episode formulas.
Yes.
And then it becomes a Bart thing for a minute, and then just like shoots off and is about the town in that kind of monorail way, which a lot of these episodes do that kind of thing too.
See, that's one of the reasons I like that episode so much, is I feel like it's almost a quintessential episode, where like if you wanted to introduce somebody to this show, well, I mean, it might overwhelm them with the sheer number of characters, but it's just really indicative of what the show is. Because you're right, it becomes about the whole town, where we cut to fun moments with just a ton of different characters, but it's also rooted perfectly in the family. And so, like, it's not a side episode for anybody. Like, it's just about our core four, but you don't know that until the very end. Like, just what exactly the whole package. It's really sophisticated in how it's structured.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that type of thing could have been a movie back then, because
yes, I wrote that in my notes. I said this feels like a movie premise.
Yeah, for sure. But no, that's one of the things they're just really strong about this season, in terms of doing the town thing, of just jump around to all these people. Like, you get characters like Groundskeeper Willie, Mayor Quimby, or Wiggum, who don't get their own episode, but just constantly have moments throughout the season, especially Wiggum. He probably gets the most for somebody that doesn't get their own episode, where they'll just pop in for like a minute or 2 seconds.
Yeah, and I figured that was the thing that would come up, like characters that are more prominent and feel more in the background. I was surprised by just how much Wiggum pops up, and like you said, for a character that doesn't get his own episode, because he got a side episode last season, if memory serves.
I'm trying to remember
if it was 4 or
Possibly?
3, but he's had one by now.
Yeah. I'm bad at remembering what's in what season, so it's like.
Well, and I don't know this episode or this series super well. I think maybe well, no, that's not fair, because he actually kind of does have a like a side character feature episode. I was gonna say the character that is probably best for that, in like being in the background but getting a lot of moments, is Grandpa, and that's true up until right at the end, and then he does kind of get a spotlight episode, but he gets a spotlight episode with a couple of other characters. Like, he still never gets, again, last season or the season before, he had a full-on spotlight episode, but he shows up constantly.
Yeah, no, Grandpa does show up a lot, and then he definitely gets like his own spotlight near the end, so it's almost like it's kind of building until you get that. But you can always tell each showrunner, there's like specific characters that they're more interested in.
Yeah.
My thing is always, I find it funny how you can tell which Phil Hartman characters they like more, because it's always between Troy McClure and Lionel Hutz, the lawyer.
And this season they
and
both
this one's
show
very
up.
much Lionel Hutz.
It's true. They both show up a decent amount, but Hutz gets more than cameos sometimes. Like, he
gets a lot.
He'll be in, I and that's kind of a running that turns into a running gag where like the season knows he's showing up too much, and so they cap that off with a great Marge line like 3 or 4 episodes before the season's over where she's like, maybe we should stop hiring him. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's great. But I think that's part of why I like this era so much is that he's my favorite character, and he pops up
Yeah.
so much this season.
Does he ever get a full-on spotlight episode?
No, Troy McClure does, but Lionel Hutz never did.
Okay.
I imagine he probably would have if they kept going and like Phil Hartman was still alive. I'd imagine they'd probably get there eventually.
Yeah, it's sad
then
they had to
obviously they retire
that
his
character.
stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it's sadder that Phil Hartman died, and obviously that's a tragic, tragic story. But
Hmm.
I,
Yeah, exactly.
I guess the closest, if they never did a spotlight episode, and maybe they did something more than this later on, but by this point, the closest you get to that is when he's the babysitter.
Hmm. That's some of my favorite stuff with him.
You see
Yeah.
just how pathetic he is? Because I wrote that in good cameos, and then he kept coming back, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of more than a cameo now. He's kind of a supporting character this episode."
Yeah, that's some of my favorite stuff with him. His Hartman's delivery of the Mr. Hutz, why are you burning all of your papers? Lionel Hutz is no more. From now on, I'm Miguel Sanchez. Is so freaking funny. And then I love at the end in the narration, they're like Lionel Hutz, aka Miguel Sanchez, aka, and I think they list like 2 more names.
That's great.
It's so good.
But he's also got fun little cameos. Like I don't remember where everything is, and I've got it written down. But he's got there's an episode where his office is in a phone booth. And that's the only scene you see him in. He just pops out of a phone booth. And he's like, "Hey, get out of my office!"
Yeah, that's in Last Temptation of Homer.
Oh, is that where it is?
Yeah, that's a great bit. Yeah, like, hey, what are you doing in my office?
That's pretty great.
Or you get he's the defense lawyer for the waiter in The Boy Who Knew Too Much, and he's like, I rest my case. You rest your case. I thought that was just like a thing that you say. Case dismissed.
Case dismissed. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
I thought it was a figure of speech. Somebody asked where the poll is. It's in the community tab on the channel. Just scroll down 3 or 4 entries and you'll see it. There's a link to it. I should have put it in the description for this. I can go in and try to do that while we're talking.
Yeah, for sure.
Apologies.
All good.
For not thinking of that, everybody. But anyway, Austin.
Well, it's funny too.
Yeah,
I just
sorry,
had this thought. No, it's okay. I was just thinking. It's funny that that's also probably his biggest role, because that episode also has probably Wiggum's biggest role this season, where he and Homer in the car together, and they're both obviously like we said, just characters that pop up a ton this season.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that it worked out that way.
Mm-hmm. And also has some of my favorite Wiggum lines, like the "Oh my God, it's a ghost car."
I went ahead and put the poll just in the live comments there, folks.
Perfect.
Other major themes I noticed, Austin, and stuff that sometimes makes the series feel even like as relevant or more relevant now. Like some of the stuff that we're sort of predicting or that we're seeing coming on the horizon, even 30 years ago, gets a little, like, I don't want to overstate it, but there's a couple places where the satire is like almost a little chilling to me. There's some satire about technology where I'm going, this is like more cynical looking at it now than back then. Just off the top of my head, there's an episode where there is a machine that somebody builds to replace people. I forget what that is.
Yeah, it's not coming to mind offhand.
I'm trying to remember. It's like the something 3000. It's like I is it for the Krusty shows? I can't remember. But there's a thing in there that was like very kind of AI where it's like people can be replaced easily eventually. And there's a little bit of that in there. I've got it written down in here. I'll get to it.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, no, I mean, I've definitely had stuff with the show where I'm like, I've kind of just been going through some of the same issues for like the last, like 30 years.
And then obviously so much stuff just about like rampant consumerism in general, consumer business taking advantage of people. Homer and Apu has a lot of
Yeah.
that. Lisa versus Malibu Stacy has a lot of that. Um,
Yeah, and it's funny because there's quite a bit of that this season. You could throw in Springfield, like the casino one, with that as well.
yeah, sure.
Um, it's funny that you get all that stuff, but it's also, I think, the first season where we're not commenting on The Simpsons being poor anymore. Like, we don't really have episodes where it's like, oh no, we can't afford this, except for the elephant episode.
Well,
But it's also because they own an elephant.
it comes up in a throwaway way though in the first couple episodes,
Mhm.
which is kind of interesting because I actually have that written down in like tropes or just ideas that keep coming back where you'll have
Yeah.
it stopped happening, but early on you did get a couple of lines in different episodes where it's like, oh no, we can't afford that, and then you're right, you don't hear that as much after that.
Yeah, yeah. There's like one line in the last episode where Homer's like, "Oh, we were fighting about money," but it's not like something you're seeing in the episode.
Yeah, and with that I feel like you'd probably be fighting about that even if you made a lot more than they make,
Mhm. Although
because like
Homer was
yeah.
a giant band, he's got some money now.
Well, yeah, except you gotta expect that he just blew it on stupid stuff.
Yeah, and I think Bart got some money from being famous, and then Grandpa gave them the silver dollars.
No, that's how
Got some more money
dysfunctional
to
this
spend.
family is. Is that it's not just that they're broke and they don't know how to hang on to money. It's that they've had money before. They've had lots of it, and they always find ways to lose it.
Yeah, Homer won a Grammy. Not that that's worth anything.
I think it's amusing that Marge finds out she's a compulsive gambler, but like didn't seem to have those tendencies before.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that's one of those places where we're also subverting what we normally do, because and the episode's commenting on it when it happens. That's usually the Marge protest episode, is that they bring in something to the town, and she's like, "Oh, well, you can't do that. I'm gonna fight that."
Yeah, and then
And
she's like, "No, I'm
she's
for
fully
it,"
with the
and like
gambling.
everyone's shocked, and Homer. That's a really funny running gag through that whole episode where Homer just keeps arguing with her about it. She's like, "No, I'm fine with the gambling. Why are you arguing with me about this?" And he's like, "Oh,
No, I
you
was
thought
there. I
you
remember.
thought this was a bad idea," and she's like, "I was for it."
Yeah, I love that flashback where she's got like green hair and I
Yeah,
think like white pearls, and like just every detail is wrong.
yeah. Is that the one that? Or maybe I'm conflating it with another kind of vision. But there's a cool bit. I should just save it because I have it written down in cool visual moments. But there's a bit somewhere where she's a monster in Homer's mind, and then the drawing has all of her regular details just in the wrong places, and then it flips back around to make her.
Oh, that's in Marge and the Lamb. That's when Wiggum's like, okay, we got one person in the car. They got pearls, blue hair, and
Oh,
whatnot. And Homer thinks of that. He's like, haha, what a weirdo. And then they hit a speed bump, and it
flips back around.
flips
It's like,
into
wait a
Marge.
minute, I know who that is. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was the one you were talking about.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, real quick. Other
Yeah.
themes they seem real interested in this season. Changing technology. I specifically with the internet, with the nerds and Homer Goes to College. We've played with this before. I just in general mediocrity. And so you get, again, with Homer Goes to College, like entitled people who don't want to work hard and expect things to be handed to them. That's just kind of a Homer staple in general, but we do a spotlight on that idea with that episode. Marge on the Lamb is marital jealousy and insecurity. That's one of the couple of big, like, marital problems, like, them on the Outs episodes. And then I was surprised that we got one where they almost full on split at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was funny when I was going through, because I have the list of formulas that I've had since season 1. And I can probably add more to them as we go. But
I've been adding stuff to it,
just going through when I was adding them, I was like, you can really tell how Homer focused the season is, because like the secondary Homer jobs one is like, shh. And then there's also a couple marital crisis ones, which is obviously another big Homer thing. And then the big flashback episode is also a big Homer episode. There's just a lot of that.
We always do satire going all the way back to the beginning about how TV rots your brain. They love the irony of this being a TV show that arguably maybe would do that if you watch too much of it, but then immediately it feels smarter because it's aware of that fact, and it will insert a lot of kind of like cerebral jokes that you need to be a reader in order to understand, which I've always massively respected, and I think they've really cracked the code on that idea this season. They've done some of that all the way through. That is a massive through line all the way through the season. And then I really like all the like self-help stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff's great. And with the TV thing specifically, that's some of the funniest stuff in Deep Space Homer, where that's like all NASA cares about is their Nielsen ratings. And you have that bit where the scientist comes in and he's like, we're at the top of the Nielsen ratings. Oh, great. How's our space shuttle doing? I don't know. All this technology we have really just analyzes our ratings.
It's just to monitor that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really funny. And then that's depressing, because back then we at least pretended like we still cared about space travel. And so that...
It was because we didn't put a slack-jawed yokel into space. If we did that, people would care, God damn it.
And then there's lots of fun examples with the TV rots your brain thing. One I really like is in Secrets of a Successful Marriage, where Homer blames TV for why he doesn't read or go to museums. And he has this whole monologue about how there's all these great shows every 30 minutes that are like pushing envelopes and trying new things, and if only that wasn't there, he would be smart. And I love how, now that I'm thinking about it, that argument completely contradicts itself, if you think about it, because he's like, if only TV wasn't challenging me, I would be smarter.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't actually make any sense.
Yeah, no, and you get that with Skinner with like one of his biggest moments in The Boy Who Knew Too Much, where he's going to like, I don't think it's the library, it's like a museum, and then like another thing like that, and there's no kids there, and then we cut to Bart, and he's going to see a movie called Booberama at the theater.
Yes.
That's where you get the classic, am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
Unfortunately, yeah, that was pretty great. Unfortunately, I was watching that episode with my 7-year-old. Okay, so another example with the TV rots your brain thing, Austin. This was one of those moments that I found weirdly more relevant now, that actually kind of bugged me a little bit. Because it, in a weird way, almost predicts kids being addicted to social media. I like not being able to go without it for any amount of time, so you got to whip it out in class and hope nobody notices. Because Bart does this with a portable TV in Bart Gets Famous, and all I could think about was kids addicted to cell phones.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a great bit, where Skinner is like, we're going to the box factory, and he's like,
Yeah, the
nothing
box
beats
factory.
a boy's imagination. Today, class, we're not going to the box factory, we're going to
The box
the
factory.
box factory. Damn TV.
Yeah, and you could say that I'm reaching because this is just the modern equivalent, but I don't think I am. The reason I couldn't help but be reminded of the social media thing is because he's sitting there not being able to apply himself enough even to think of a word. And that's what scrolling TikTok all day does to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's, the episode where he gets famous and then gets, destroyed by Hollywood. Like, you can also apply the social media aspect to that as well. It's just obviously now it wouldn't be literally Hollywood. It would be your 15 minutes of fame online. Like, that's how they would do it now, is you mix those two things.
Oh, you're right, absolutely. And that could have been just him, like, scrolling on his phone looking at videos. And then
then he makes a video that becomes popular.
like,
I'm sure they probably do that at some point.
He goes out in the hall. Yeah, I'm sure they do. He goes out in the hallway and he makes a video of himself saying, "I didn't do that" or whatever, and then it blows up.
Yeah, exactly.
Except if you did that same episode now, I wonder if Simpsons has ever done this, where they'll go back and intentionally kind of remake an episode in a more modern way, where, like, if you knew the show really well, you could tell it's the same episode. I wonder if they ever do that.
I don't know about, like, that directly, but, like, there's definitely, it's been on so long that they go back to, similar premises.
You'd have to.
Premises.
But, like, if you did it creatively enough, I wouldn't even mind that with something like this, where you do this exact episode over again, but now it's with TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I think there could be value in that.
Now Bart's getting on Conan O'Brien's podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was going to say is, if you did it now, his 15 minutes of fame wouldn't last as long. Because he'd have that catchphrase, and then all the kids would be obsessed with it for like 24 hours. And then he'd think that he could, like, live on it, and then all of a sudden the next week nobody cares. And... Like he hasn't been able to capitalize on it because he hasn't come up with the new thing to keep people's attention.
Yeah,
they'd forget about him a lot faster.
Yeah. Also, in terms of things that I think are funnier now, with that one with Conan O'Brien specifically, Lisa's like, "Oh, Bart's going to be on Conan," and Homer's like, I'm completely spent after Leno. That made me laugh, given, like, the whole history between them that obviously hasn't happened yet.
No,
I thought that was funnier.
It's weird the ways in which this watches. It's almost better retroactively with a lot of history behind it, and then other ways where it's such a product of its time that there are certain things that you might not appreciate as well. Like, if you weren't there, or if you didn't, like, really know your pop culture stuff, because you are taking, of course, a big risk with making what feels like real disposable entertainment like this, where week to week you're really commenting on what's happening right now, and obviously not in a South Park kind of way where it's like, from 5 seconds ago, but more and more as the series progresses, it's doing a lot more of that kind of stuff. And so you show this to a kid now, he's not going to have any idea of, like, Al Gore jokes and Clinton playing a saxophone and et cetera, et cetera. And so, like, there are prerequisites for some of the humor in the show, but it doesn't watch. I mean, it helps that I'm as old as I am, and so there's a lot of stuff that I would get that kids younger than me wouldn't. But then at the same time, so I've got that bias, but I also don't think it is fully disposable. I want to think that there's enough there that you'd be able to latch onto, story.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff.
It's going for a percentage of jokes, and I think a certain percentage are not timely things that don't require any prerequisite.
No, and there's plenty of stuff that I think is funny that is a reference I don't understand, but like it's just a joke I think is funny in the moment. And then later on, I'll be like, "Oh, it was a reference to this thing."
So I don't remember.
So they are good at that.
I can't pull out any specific examples of this, but Jason watched my 15-year-old. Jason watched seven or eight of these with me, and I swear to God, Austin, there were a couple of pop culture references that he laughed at that I didn't understand.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
It's because Jason knows freaking everything, and it drives me crazy. They were, I imagine they were music things, but I'm not sure. Because Jason listens to like 50 old albums a month now. Like, he's a music fiend. And so there's all kinds of stuff. You go all the way back even to like the 40s and 50s. And like, because he's also a jazz guy. And so there's all kinds of stuff that you could reference now that Jason would get that would be completely over my head.
Yeah, for sure. No, and they definitely like going to music stuff this season. I mean, this is the season where we do an episode that's a parody of the Beatles' history.
Yeah. And first episode out, we haven't said this yet, but it's crazy how strong it opens.
It's such a good opener, yeah.
And you'd think you could only go down from there. Like, I think that's part of the reason the season is so strong, is that it starts with that high and it kind of hangs there.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and especially like a kind of weird premise too, where you're like, that shouldn't work. Like, that sounds like a jumping the shark thing, but they nail it.
Well, maybe that's part of the reason that they're getting away with. Well, I mean, I say this is a show, to be fair, that isn't really intended to be necessarily like watched all at once, and that you're supposed to be able to come in and out of. But if you look at all of it together, I think it probably helps some of those episodes that are making fun of like animation inconsistencies and like how cartoonish should this be allowed to go? They're making fun of themselves for not being fully consistent about that. And just as an example, and you're opening with an episode that is fully admitting, and this is part of the premise of it, this is what's funny about it, that the whole thing is extremely contrived. Where it's going, and like, it's making fun of like, I want to say prepolitis, but I guess it's not exactly that, but making fun of like retroactive history and things, where it's like, you have a show that's been on a number of years, it can be hard to go forward without like wanting to go backwards and add to background, but then it's like, okay, but if this has never been brought up before, and it was a significant enough thing that happened in a character's life, why have we never talked about it? And so this just full on goes, this makes no sense at all. And then it has characters come out and say, why has this never been brought up before? And it's wonderful, it's hilarious. And then there's just that question of how far can you push that idea in the show? And they do it a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's fun also. And I mean, this is just kind of always fun when they do flashback episodes, but it's also fun seeing them reference stuff, that they couldn't have when they started. Although we're getting to a point now where it's, we're getting a little bit far away from things that you got to kind of move the timeline a little bit.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff,
we're already far enough in that you've got to change years for background, like when Marge and Homer get married and all of that. It's got to be a little later now than it used to be.
Yeah, it's not like now where like Homer and Marge probably got like they met each other and got married in like 2010, but like we're already easing that forward a little bit. But like I love when Homer's trying to think of a song. And the song he's writing about is the Al Capone's Vault song, where it's there was nothing in Al Capone's vault, but it wasn't Geraldo's fault. so good.
That's really funny. I don't want to make this whole thing just telling the few stories I have about Simpsons from my childhood, because I was never like a giant Simpsons guy, but it was so prominent. It was around and it was on TV a lot. And my stepdad was big into The Simpsons, and so again, much to my mom's chagrin. So he had this is the Jeff. He had a tape that was an album of music from the show, and that would have come out probably 97, 98 maybe. And several of the songs on that tape are from this season, and some of them were from episodes that I'd never seen, and like up until this week had never seen. And so there were these songs that I was like really familiar with, that I always had to just kind of guess at what the episode around it looked like, because it never showed up on TV, and I didn't like actively seek the show out. So I had never seen Homer and Apu, but I knew the Apu song like to this day almost word for word, because I heard it so many times, but I never actually sat through that episode.
That's really funny. Later on, I think it's in like the later teen episodes.
So
it's somewhere.
Who needs the quickie? Like that's one of the songs that will sometimes come back to my brain, and I'd never seen that episode.
Well, yeah, I love when we go like round robin to everybody, and then you get to Homer and he can't rhyme it.
Oh, and Springfield was like that too. I don't think I'd ever seen that episode, or if I had, I didn't remember much in it.
Well, that was the Boy Scouts one. So that's the one that you said you remembered really well at the beginning, and then
was that where that
like
happens?
Near the end.
I thought that was in Springfield with the dollar sign.
No, because it's when they get like drunk off the Slurpee, and then they're like, "Let's go crazy Broadway style."
Never mind. I had seen that then.
The Springfield song.
Yeah. I'm conflating things.
That's okay.
Well, anyway, another thing about rampant consumerism, we were talking about this with TV culture and everything. One line that really stuck out to me that I had to write down, that again, like, is as effective or more so now, is in Bart Gets an Elephant, when Homer says, "Who's to say what's right these days, what with all our modern ideas and products?"
That's great. That episode also has my favorite political satire when Stampy the Elephant's running away.
I wrote that
and
down.
He runs through the Republican I don't know, conference or whatever, and it's like, we want what's worst for everybody.
Well, they had the
and
Republican convention and the Democratic convention happening simultaneously.
Yeah, exactly. And then he runs to the Democratic one, and it's like, we hate ourselves.
Ineffectual government.
Or something like. Yeah. Or like, it's really funny.
Yeah, like, we can't govern. No, I really respected it for making fun of both sides like that.
Yeah. No, that's always what I think about when I think of good political satire. It's just kind of laughing at both like that.
Well, the thing is, you could, depending on what side of the aisle you're on and how sensitive you are to bias. I mean, if you, and I won't talk politics too much, but if you take the whole season on the whole, you'd probably assume that most of the people making the show are more on the left than the right. But then, that's Hollywood, and even like back then, most of the people in show business are not even center. They're gonna be more left than right. And so you could look at just that joke and go, well, okay. Yeah, they made fun of Democrats as well as Republicans, but they called Republicans flat out evil. So they said the Republicans are evil and the Democrats are ineffectual. And to that I would say, but they're talking not about people on each side, they're talking about the parties. They're talking about the politicians. And that's a different conversation.
Yeah. Well, it's like, later on, I think it's in like a season or two. We do the episode where George Bush moves in across the street, and at the end of that episode, you get Gerald Ford, who is just Homer Simpson, and stuff like that. I love it. We also get Bush in this season because we get the great bit where he and Carter can't go into Burns' party because they're one-term
No
presidents.
one-term presidents. No one. No, he says no one-termers.
Yeah,
I
and
wrote that
Carter's
down
just like, "Oh man, like
in my
I got a
list.
gift," and Bush is like, "Don't talk to me, loser." So good.
A lot of presidents this season. Freaking Lincoln shows up.
He does show up
I mean,
with Huckleberry Finn.
yeah, I was gonna say it's in a daydream, but he's there.
Mhm. Yeah, classic Huckleberry Finn and Lincoln.
And then Deep Space Homer, once again blaming TV for Americans losing curiosity and interest in learning. And then one of the ideas that we've explored through the show up until now, but again, I think is really solidified this season, is, and you were talking about how Homer-centric this season is the kind of nature-nurture thing with Homer, where there's the question of, and it's brought up several times, of whether Homer has any choice in being the dunderhead that he is. Like, is that genetic makeup, or is it choices that he's made? And then we'll very often take that with Bart as well, and we'll ask like, is Bart destined to follow in his father's footsteps, both because he's being brought up the way he is and because he has the same genetics, and that's always, like, simultaneously some of the funniest and saddest things with Bart is when he'll accidentally say something or do something as dumb as Homer, and like show the same sort of incompetence, when in general he's rebelling against that and doesn't have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think we talked about in season 2, I guess, because that's when you get the first flashback episode where you see what Marge was like when she was younger, where the kids have various, or like just different takes on her kind of rebellious youth, and then obviously Bart is like kind of mixed with Homer's side as well, more than Lisa is.
Yeah. And so we're blaming the culture to some degree, and just, chemicals in sugar in food, for messing up Homer's brain and making him an automaton and making him like easily susceptible to suggestion and like not able to formulate coherent thoughts. But there's also the suggestion that some of that is genetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say
exactly.
I want to say even the show is coming down on he probably doesn't have to be as much of a buffoon as he is if only he would stop watching TV and read a book and exercise and stop eating donuts. But there is a little bit of that question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they'll jump into that more in like the next couple seasons, especially when we introduce like Homer's mom and whatnot, and kind of really tackle some of that stuff.
Well, and I think the best evidence to support that if only the man would apply himself, he could go farther in life, is the fact that he did have a musical career and he was talented at that. And then we parallel him. We were doing this last season, and we've continued it this season with Barney, who we unequivocally has that, who like is a like brilliant mind on multiple fronts if only he would quit drinking,
and has possibly also killed people.
I really loved some of the continuity stuff this season, where we know that Barney is like this brilliant singer, and that if he sobers up, he's like actually kind of an intellectual. I think we had that in a previous episode, and then here we have him as an astronaut, and all of that comes back when he quits drinking. Like,
I still
immediately. He looks like he could, maybe run NASA or something if only he wasn't an alcoholic. It's great.
Every time I see that episode, I'm like, I have no idea how he did the like I'm a model of a modern major general, like that whole thing, really fast in a Barney voice. Like every time I see that episode, I'm like, how did you get through that?
It's easy to take for granted how impressive and difficult some of the voice acting is in this show.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's Bart Gets an Elephant where that machine is. The DJ 3000. Where the...
Oh yes, the DJ 3000. Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Where, like,
It's
even
like,
back then, we've got a joke about, like, automating personalities.
mhm.
And I see
When
that now.
it's like,
And that's
oh,
not me going, oh, this show is genius, it predicted AI. It's me going, oh, it hits different now.
when I love that, they hit the button and it's like, oh, that politician, what a jerk. And the radio host is like, oh man, how is he keeping up with material like that?
It's like, how do you know what's happening today? Austin,
Yeah, exactly.
can you think of any other major themes that I didn't hit? Like, kind of social themes?
No, I feel like you got all of them. Like I said, there was a couple things that I noticed that they weren't talking about as much, like the money thing. At least in, the same way, at the very least.
Yeah.
No, I more so just had what I've had the last couple seasons, which is just I broke down kind of where episodes fall into different categories.
Well,
like,
that's what I wanted to do next. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like I have, Marital Crisis, which has Marge and the Lamb, Last Temptation of Homer, and Secrets of a Successful Marriage.
I included a couple of others
Yeah.
to lesser extents.
Yeah.
Bart's Inner Child has a little bit of it because
True. You know what? I should have written that on this one. You're right.
So you have Homer's irresponsibility versus Marge's tendency to be uptight and take no risks. They argue about that.
Yeah.
And then
No, I think what threw me off a little bit is, like I said, there's episodes that start in a different place for a formula and then shift into a different one.
Well, there's definitely
when writing it
episodes
down,
that I missed for some of these categories that I'm hoping you included. Because right before we started, I went back and looked at this, and I saw a couple categories where I'm like, ooh, I know there's stuff that fits, and I missed it while I was watching, and I don't have time to go in. So hopefully you hit some of those. But another one I had that you didn't mention just now is Springfield, because... like Marge is off being a compulsive gambler, and then Homer's got to take care of everything.
Oh my
at home
god, what am I doing?
Doesn't know what he's doing, and also they're fighting because Homer thinks she's mad at him, or that she's mad about the gambling thing in the first place, even though she wants to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then protest episodes, I really just had Lisa versus Malibu Stacy.
That's all I.
There's a couple here that are kind of lesser this season, so we didn't really get as many of those. I don't have anything for Vacation. We didn't do that this season.
You could stretch with Cape Fear, but that's the closest you get.
Yeah, it's like you could stretch for that, and I was like, Homer technically leaves the country in Barbershop Quartet, or at least the state. But at the same time, I'm like, that's also just stretching. Like, it's not really about that.
Oh, no, we're wrong. There's one more that actually fully counts, which is Boy Scouts.
But I don't know if they leave the state in that. I think they're still... Oh, I guess they would have to be because they're on the coast.
Aren't they on the ocean?
And they are, but they're so inconsistent with where Springfield is. I was like, Springfield just exists on the coast now. Like, I don't know. It could be, it could not be.
Look, I assumed that Krusty Burger on an unmanned oil rig was not in Springfield, but yeah, I don't know. That's one of my favorite jokes, by the way, is that it's not manned. And then they just happen to go there when Krusty is there. Like, what are the odds of that?
Well, and I think it was last season is the one where we do the flashback episode, and Krusty's like, "Oh, for this Olympics, you're gonna get a free Krusty Burger for every gold medal we win in these categories, and they're specifically the categories that like the Soviets always win in, and then the Soviets get banned that year." So he's just like, like I'm losing all this money on these burgers that we're winning because the Soviets aren't there. So it kind of reminded me of that a little bit, where it's like, it's like I opened this Krusty Burger on an unmanned oil rig.
And then Homer shows up and he's like, I need 700 burgers.
Every time I see that, I'm like, did you have money with you? Let alone money for 700? And you're not supposed to ask. Like, it's silly.
No, you're not supposed to ask those questions. Well, it almost works anyway because they're just so excited anyone showed up, they immediately start throwing food at them.
Yeah, they just slap down a plate of like 50 hamburgers.
You don't see the part where Krusty calls the police because they can't pay. Like, you just don't see that part. But that probably happened.
Well, who's he gonna call? There's no police.
That's true.
An unmanned oil rig.
Well, and if you called Wiggum, he'd just be like, "Oh yeah, right," and then hang up on you.
Ma'am,
one of his...
I keep telling you they have to be missing for at least a week before we can look into it.
That's good. And I also we can't be expected to police the whole town.
Yeah.
No, Wiggum's great this season.
Mm. Yeah, he's got so many great little moments.
By the way, I've been collecting these little 2.5-inch Jax figures, and I actually have procured a Wiggum. I have.
There he is.
I have a Wiggum, and I also have a Sideshow Bob.
On prison Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, in his orange jumpsuit. Yeah. Oh, and just last week I got my hands on Mr. Birds.
Excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, and here's my Flanders. Yeah, I'm buying Simpsons stuff now.
Well, you love Flanders.
Sure. Anyway, past future, there's a lot of, and it kind of just depends on what you even want to count at this point.
Yeah, I just wrote Homer's Barbershop just because that one specifically is like fully in the past. But like you said, there's so many just flashbacks here and there. Like Rosebud's got it. I think Springfield's got it. As the sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass song has it. Like there's so many episodes that have some sort of flashback in some way.
One of the weirdest ones that I was interested in, and I wonder how this is maybe built on later on in stuff I've not seen or don't remember. I guess I forgot to write the episode down. You'll probably remember where it is. But it's the flashback, and maybe it's the only time we've had one so far, to Flanders' dad.
Mm-hmm. I think that's in Homer Loves Flanders,
Is it?
I think. No, it's the Sweet Seymour Skinner one, isn't it? Because he talks about like why he doesn't believe in discipline.
That's what it is.
One.
Yeah, because it's when he's the principal.
Yeah, and we will take that and like fully expand it into a great episode.
Oh, cool!
Season 7 or 8.
I thought that was a fascinating way to handle that. That he becomes religious as probably some kind of teenage rebellion. Because his father is like a beatnik hippie that looks like Where's Waldo.
Yeah, he 100% looks like Waldo.
He's just Waldo.
He's got like a little beanie.
Yeah, he's got exactly that shirt. I wonder, this might be a stretch, but I wonder if at this point, because this is 94, if they had already been making those big Simpsons books that were just the Where's Waldo books, because those were really popular.
Probably.
They had the find the characters, and we've done this now with like every property you can think of, but the Simpsons had it in the 90s, and I wonder if they might not have been kind of thinking about that when they did that gag, where like they're making their own Where's Waldo books, so they put a Waldo in the show. I wonder about that.
Well, there's like quite a few places where Simpsons goes to Waldo gags. They have one of my favorite Waldo jokes where it's I forget what the Waldo book is,
Oh,
but
I
it's like
think
a
we've
later
had
one.
one already before this.
And like Bart opens it up and it's just a giant picture of Waldo, and he's like, "Ah, man, they're not even trying anymore."
I think that was the previous season.
Yeah.
My son Jason, when we were playing Jackbox once, this is neither here nor there. I came up with, I can't remember what the context was, why he thought of this, but he coined "There's Faldo."
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't do that because they already have like the little Waldo side characters that all have weird names.
yeah,
It's like
it's like,
Oddlaw and
but
Girl Waldo,
I just love
Wizard
the idea.
Waldo.
It is kind of that Simpsons gag. I love the idea that you have a like elementary book where it's not even supposed to be difficult. He's just there. This is just there he is. There's Faldo.
There he is.
He's right there.
He's at the beach.
Okay, keep going with episode types.
So we didn't do a Kids Help Krusty episode. Krusty, I find, didn't really get much to do in general this season. This wasn't really a big season for him.
Well, you do have Bart Gets Famous, which starts like one of those. And actually, I think they're almost making fun of the fact that was becoming a formula, because that opens with Bart
lists them.
Well, not only does he list them, but he shows up and he helps him in like the most minor possible way at first, and then he gets a job with him.
Yeah. No, exactly. And then when he does it, Krusty's like, "Who are you again?" And he's like, "What do you mean? Like, I helped you with this, and I helped you with that, I helped you with this."
Krusty has, in a weird way, the same thing. There's almost like a series Bible with, like rules for characters and their affiliations with people. So, in a weird way, Krusty has the same thing Burns does, where he's not allowed to remember that he's met these people. And it's more extreme with Burns because he's employed the man that he never remembers, and he's been in many more adventures with them than Krusty has.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of goes to a boiling point by the time you get to Who Shot Mr. Burns.
Yeah, do they manage to keep doing that gag after that?
I think probably. Yeah, I'm trying to remember offhand, but like, maybe I don't know.
Surely we never fully drop Homer Simpson's, or like I'd be really surprised.
I don't think we do. Yeah, we maybe do now. Like I know there's stuff that they don't do anymore because they're like, I would probably beating this into the ground. But that one specifically, I feel like you could probably still do.
It can't get too absurd.
Yeah, exactly. Homer's secondary jobs. I've got Homer's Barbershop Quartet. This one's not exactly, but I put Homer goes to college even though it's him going to school because it's the same kind of formula. It's just not another job.
I wrote it too. Yep.
Yeah. You got Springfield, Homer the Vigilante, Deep Space Homer.
How is there a secondary job for Homer in Springfield?
That's where he becomes he's working at the casino.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
dealer.
because he said he had a lifelong dream to be a blackjack dealer.
Yeah, and you get that awesome part where he's dealing to Rain Man, and he's like, "Hey, do that card counting trick again." And Rain Man's like, "No, gotta leave the table. Definitely gotta leave the table." And they just start screaming at each other.
I have one small issue with Springfield, and that is, I wanted more of a subplot about Bart's treehouse casino, because everything, all the few things we do with it are really funny, and I feel like that almost could have been an episode all by itself.
Yeah. No, I mean I can't disagree with that. That is another episode where everybody's got quite a bit to do.
Yeah.
Bart probably the least, I guess, just because of that. But like you said, everything with his little casino is really funny.
Well, I don't know. Remind me. I mean, what is Lisa doing in that episode?
She's got like the school project that she's got to do that she needs Marge for, and then Marge isn't there, so then Homer has
Oh,
to help her.
yes. No, you're right. She is pretty significantly featured because then Homer tries to make her Florida. Is it Florida?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah, it is Florida because it's spelled with an E instead of an I.
He makes like this really pathetic costume, and
Yeah, and
that
Ralph's
kinda,
Idaho.
that goes back to a couple of other episodes from previous seasons where he's struggling to bond with her.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to remember. I don't. Have we done the fast forward episode yet with her where she's getting married?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, that might be coming later, but I feel like that's kind of the big culmination of their relationship, at least up to a point. But I can never remember if that's season 4 or 6.
Did you write anything else for that category?
No, that was all I had.
You missed a big one.
Extra Joe. Oh, what did I miss?
Secrets of a Successful Marriage.
Yeah, of course, because he's the professor.
He's a
which
teacher.
is like the best stuff in that episode.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
and everyone else in the town is a teacher.
Yeah.
And you have all these other people that are teachers, and then they also all somehow go to the classes.
That has one of my favorite grandpa jokes where Homer's like, a marriage is a lot like an orange, and he starts eating the orange, and I think Apu is like, if I wanted to, learn how to eat an orange, I would have gone to the orange eating class. And you got the Mole Man teaching it, and he's like, eating an orange is a lot like a successful marriage. And Grandpa goes, just eat the damn oranges.
It's hard for these streams not to just degenerate into you remember this funny part, but
Yeah. Well, especially this season, like we have, the categories for best jokes. Like I could do the best 5 lines every episode.
Yeah.
Like, it was so hard.
yeah, I wrote way too many. I won't read them all. I'll read some of them. Lots of side character spotlights, and I was surprised by that because for the longest time it was Rosebud and nothing else. And then right at the end, like in the last 10 episodes, there's 6 of them.
You're either a Bard episode or you're a character spotlight episode in the back half.
It almost, in a weird way, the season is a little bit uneven when you get to the back quarter, because the quality of storytelling and joke telling is still at a peak, and I actually think some of the best animation in the season is in that back end. That last episode looks incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
Particularly that opening scene with the poker game at the Simpsons house, where they do this lower lighting thing where everybody's shaded differently, and it's really cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
But
just really showing off there.
But I digress. They get to you get to that back quarter, and it almost has a different flavor to it. It almost feels like we're into a different season now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wonder, because I know, I've talked to people who are like, okay, as it goes along, it's funny, but it becomes too Homer-centric. It's I almost wonder if, somebody like that would kind of struggle through the first half, and then the second half, it's okay, now I can kind of breathe. That's kind of relaxed a little bit.
Yeah, probably so. It's also interesting that the first couple episodes of season 6 were made for 5, and they staved them off, and they are a Bart episode and a Lisa episode respectively, and the season really could have used those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Just to balance it out a little bit. I wrote those down. Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, I can't remember offhand what the Bart one is. I'm gonna guess the Lisa one is probably the first episode of season 6, which I think, funny enough, is named after Bart. Because I think that's Bart of Darkness.
Bart of Darkness, yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't write those down. I thought I wrote those down. Well, anyway. I wrote so many notes for the season, and they're not as organized as I would like. Anyway, but yeah, so the spotlights are Rosebud, Homer and Apu, and like I don't think you get any between those two episodes.
No, that's what I have. Yeah, I got Rosebud for Mr. Burns, Homer and Apu for Apu, Homer Loves Flanders for Flanders, and this one I think it's kind of a cheat.
Oh,
It's
I
not
forgot to write that
exactly.
down, but yes, obviously that's one of them.
Yeah, I still wrote it down because I was like, he's kind of just spotlighted through like the beginning and like kind of the end, but he's more antagonistic. But it's I put down Burns is there for Mr. Burns as well.
I wrote that too,
even though it's a bit of a cheat. But Skinner's Badass Song for Skinner, and Lady Bouvier's Lover for Grandpa.
In addition, and again, maybe to a lesser degree, but I also included Lisa versus Malibu Stacy with Grandpa because he's got.
Oh yeah, he's got his own little subplot.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a subplot there, and it's paralleled nicely with Lisa, where they have a moment where they're both lamenting that, respectively, one of them is not being paid attention to because she's too young, and the other one is being ignored because he's too old.
And everybody listens to Homer and his wacky ideas.
It's just some nice classic, like themes converging. Your A story and your B story,
Yeah,
linked in an ideal way. I like that a lot.
mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Keep going.
Yeah, I didn't think to write that just because it was this like the B plot. But
Well, we had so few of them that it jumped out at me, and I was like, "Well, it might count. I'll write it down," because I didn't know that we were going to get 5 at the end.
No, very true. Very true. When I wrote it, I initially missed the Flanders one, and then I went, "Oh no, that would count. That's a spotlight episode."
Oh, absolutely, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he and Homer have almost a dual protagonist arc in that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. When Homer eventually becomes the T-1000.
That is one of the best pop culture references in the It's so good, and the music in that sequence is amazing.
Yeah. And that episode also is like the big Hedge joke that they're too conscious about being a meme now. They go back to that joke way too much in modern Simpsons. Where Homer like fades back into the hedge.
Yeah. Well, immediately when that happened, I was like, "Oh, that's a meme now." I feel like I see that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's like a big famous GIF, and the show goes to that a lot now.
Oh. Robotters, Lisa is a horrible Florida.
But Ralph's a great Idaho, so it works out.
He also says that it's some amazing animation techniques in the first several seasons, at least up to 10. We talked a lot with the previous season about how ambitious some of the more cinematic action work was, and some of the cool, like, quote unquote camera turns and stuff. And there's a decent amount of that this season too. And again, I think the most impressive stuff's actually in the back half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the big one, early on is just Cape Fear is like one of the best animated episodes.
Yeah.
They go, really atmospheric for that one, like they do with, the other Sideshow Bob episodes.
But I mean, that T-1000 gag that you mentioned looks pretty cool, and there's some impressive stuff on the water in the Boy Scout episode.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and real quick, another really impressive animated bit, now that we're talking about it. Let me see if I can remember what episode it's in. I'm just jumping everywhere. My brain... This is why it's every 2 years, because my brain completely falls apart when we try to do one of these.
That's rest every time for 2 years.
Look, I'm gonna give it my best. Like, I'm gonna try. There is a scene where, God, I'm trying to remember, where Homer Oh no, I know what it is. It's when Burns gives Bart a car, I think, and you get this like first person POV shot with all the stuff hitting the
Yeah.
windshield. There's some really impressive animation in that. I keep wanting to say camera work, but
he
like
hits the
full
elf,
camera
and
work.
then he's like, that was a crazy ride. Are you telling me?
Mikey watched that episode with me, and he was cracking up at that. He thought that was so funny.
God, it's so
They
funny.
hit like Santa's workshop. Mikey just lost it.
It's probably funnier for him now because like we're getting into Christmas. Like it
was really
it's like, oh yeah,
it was a good time to watch that because you're not expecting it.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you have for coming of age episodes? Because that was one that I was not thinking about, or was that even on your list?
So I don't have it. I must have pulled the formulas off of like an older season that we did, and we probably added that later. So that's one I'm missing. But I'll add it for next time.
This is how long it's been since we've done this. I think you sent me the first season one, and then I found my old notes from season 4 and realized that there were extra ones, and so I went ahead and added them.
Yeah, I then went back and found my season 2 one, and that's what I pulled the formulas off of. So there you go. But yeah, in terms of coming of age,
and we had that just Bart and Lisa is how we listed that. It was just the two of them.
Yeah.
And so the best I could come up with was Bart Gets Famous and Malibu's Daisy.
Yeah, and later on we'll do like Homer and Marge coming of age stories and flashbacks. But yeah, I don't think we really got that this season.
Not really. It's kind of the closest I could come up with. But main character gets famous. We like this season.
Yes. We love main character gets famous this season.
What did you have for that?
So that one also just wasn't on my list, but like obviously
sorry.
we have Bart Gets Famous. No, it's okay. This is my fault for pulling off my season 2 notes. You obviously get Bart Gets Famous and Homer's Barbershop Quartet.
I
guess you could argue Lisa versus Malibu Stacy.
You see, I don't know that you can, because the whole point of that is nobody knows that she's involved.
It's like, it looks like she's famous for a second, so that's why I was like, you could maybe argue it. It's just, that falls off the cliff real fast.
Like, yes, her name is in the doll, but I don't think anybody puts that together. Like, I don't think anybody knows it's hers.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
And the real Malibu Stacy kind of makes sure of that.
She's not shifty at all. She's just funneling all of her money to the Viet Cong.
Dude, that scene with her and G.I. Joe, so freaking funny.
I love when she's like, "Oh, my many husbands," and they're all just like male action dolls. It's so funny.
It's like life imitating art, imitating life.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Ken, G.I. Joe, whatever. One of the last one I think is Dr. Colossus. It's like the evil scientist.
Oh yeah, well, and that plays into, you know, obviously all the satire we're doing with commercialism, and I just like the idea that in this cartoon show, where the show itself, you know, obviously knows that it's this popular part of pop culture, that you have stuff like that within it, where like even the action figures are getting meta like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I also included Burns's heir in that list, and I don't know if that should count.
Yeah, it's not exactly famous, but like also it's him becoming like rich, which you could argue is like the kind of slash that aspect. So like I could see that.
I thought he would be famous in like a Willy Wonka sort of way, because you have all of these people auditioning to be Burns's heir, and then he's the one that ultimately gets it. So you'd think people would like be aware of that, and more people would know about him, just because everybody wants Burns's money.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
No, that's a good point.
I added a new thing in my notes, Austin. Most relatable episode premises for me personally.
Okay, yeah.
One of them is Rosebud with a child bonding with a stuffed animal. I can really relate to that.
Yeah, I can relate to that. That makes sense.
So this one's really specific.
Oh no.
Bart's inner child arguing with your wife over the safety of a trampoline.
Beautiful, beautiful.
My wife and I have had this conversation on multiple occasions where I have been for having a trampoline and my wife thinks it's too dangerous, and so we've been married 17 years, we've never gotten a trampoline.
Just get like the netting one, so they can't hit
that's
the
what
bars.
That's what I said. She won't go for that either. And then I love how Homer gets it about the same way I would, because getting it from Krusty like that in the newspaper is the 90s equivalent of going on to Facebook Marketplace and getting...
That's true.
Just, there would be people trying to get rid of their trampolines and they would get rid of them for free. I just got a piano that way.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were telling me about that.
Yeah, we just got a piano. Now, it was costly to move it. But the people that were trying to get rid of it were moving and were just trying to unload it. So if you go on Marketplace, you'll find like tons of free pianos. People just trying to get rid of pianos, and like obviously you want to go and look at them and make sure that they're in good shape and stuff. We got really lucky with the one we got. It's actually a really great piano, but that's what I would do with a trampoline.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
and then
actually
you throw
probably
it off a cliff.
That's actually probably not what I would do with a trampoline. You probably want a new trampoline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if you're already worried about it being dangerous.
Not being safe enough. Yeah. No.
Yeah, exactly.
I was more joking when I said that. And then the last one is Lisa versus Malibu Stacy. Watching your favorite collectible degenerate into trash and having to decide whether or not you'll still support it.
I was really hoping you were going to say having a talking doll with the wrong voice chip.
Oh.
Because that's my favorite joke in that episode. Haven't you guys ever noticed that there's something wrong with what Malibu Stacy says?
Yeah, yours.
There's something wrong with what mine says.
Spider-Man.
My spidey senses are tingling. Anybody call for a web slinger?
But I saw a real connection to how Lisa feels about Malibu Stacy in that, and how I have sometimes felt about like new comics. And it's like, this just isn't what I want it to be anymore, but I have collected it for so long. Am I gonna stay with it and keep giving it my money? Like, I know that's not exactly what that episode is about, but there's a bit of that in there.
Yeah. When that's the case, and Bart Gets an Elephant's like this too, where they're making fun of something very specifically, where that one's making fun of the talking Barbie, where was it? I think she says something like math is hard, and obviously we take that to like the extreme. Like that's kind of the thing we're jumping off of for that.
Yeah. Roboto says Dr. Colossus is always the prime suspect.
It's true.
Slasher Fred, if you guys ever watched the Simpsons Troy McClure episode, there's a deleted scene in Springfield where he did a James Bond parody.
I just rewatched that the other day before we started this, funny enough.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like Bond, and it's very clearly like the Connery Bond. And, he's in a game with like the bad guy, and then Homer deals him like one of the cards that you're supposed to take out of the deck. And so like Bond loses and gets taken away and killed because of that.
That's really funny.
It's pretty fun.
I wonder if they've done that very, very often. Like if they've come back and added things to episodes.
So that episode, because that's a clip show. I think I told you about this the other day. That's like the next clip show we'll have, but it's a lot of deleted scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple from this season specifically. Like there's one with Burns' heir. You know when Homer goes to confront them and they just leave and they close the door?
Yeah.
Uh, there's like a whole sequence where Burns like hits a button and then a robotic Richard Simmons comes out and starts dancing and then becomes self-aware and starts attacking Burns and Smithers, and they shoot it in the head, and it's liquid metal where like it's got the hole and then it seals back up
That's
and attacks them. Yeah. They probably cut it because it's like a whole long sequence.
Well, that makes a lot of sense though, because
Yeah.
you're really expecting release the hounds or something. Because Homer's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Like send dogs?"
It's send
and then he
dogs
goes
or bees
or
or
dogs
that
with
have
bees
in
coming
their
out of their
mouths.
mouths. Yeah, and then I fully expected that to be the scene. I really thought he was going to release the hounds with the bees in their mouths. That's where I thought it was going.
You didn't think it was going to be a robotic Richard Simmons?
No, I thought it was going
But
to
that
either
is-
be. This is the show does a fairly good enough job of throwing you off the trail where you're never sure which thing it'll be. But like they bounce back and forth enough, but it will either be literally the thing that was just described, and that's the absurd joke, or they'll make you think maybe they'll do that, and then they'll do something even more ridiculous, like even crazier.
Yeah, and that's very much that like screw the audience joke thing, where you go like, oh, what are you gonna do? Release the hounds on me, and then they go, a completely different route. You also have it with the trampoline, where it like knocks Homer into the cliff, and then it cuts. Or no, I think it knocks him into the cliff at first, and then he goes like, if this were a cartoon, the cliff would drop off.
It's so good.
And then we cut to the nighttime, and he's like, oh, and then it drops off.
Well, and that was Weird Al levels of like perfect parody.
Mm-hmm.
As far as just how well it matches Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, it's great. Well, and even the sound effects they use for the trampoline, like bumping into them,
Yes.
where they do it like orchestrally, like those would do, and it works really well.
And I also just like the idea of a trampoline being like an Acme product, where it's almost a defective thing in the first place, and Marge was right about it all along.
Yeah. Well, and it's also just a good showcase.
So yes, I probably should have lost that argument with my wife, but
it's a good showcase of when you can tell that there are just a couple of Simpsons writers just throwing jokes off each other and like building it.
Yes.
Where it's like you can go like you can end with that, but like you have the whole like the kids are falling off and getting hurt, and then we have like the war parody where we pan across the battlefield of all these kids on the ground injured.
It's great.
Yeah, just a lot of like, okay, and then this, and then this, and then this.
Weirdly, a trope we go to more than once in this season is Homer or Bart or both of them have some kind of goofy business in their backyard where they get people to come and pay them money to be there. They do that like 4 or 5 times. Like they do it with the trampoline, they do it with the elephant, they do it with the casino and the treehouse. Like this keeps coming up.
Yeah, and the elephant one is another good example of the screw the audience joke thing, where he goes, "Oh, people will pay to see this elephant. I know what I'll do," and then it cuts to him hammering in the sign that says "Go away."
And then Bart comes in with the lucrative sign.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Austin, somehow we're already close to 2 hours, and we're still going to have to do a commentary at the end. So,
crazy.
I know. So let's go ahead and do our kind of little award ceremony here. And I won't throw out as many runners-up as I have written down for particularly like the big categories, because I wrote a ton of possible contenders down, but we'll start with funniest visual moment of the season, and I probably have a few categories here that you don't, Austin because
Yeah.
I went back and added from the more recent stuff, and I actually put a couple of extra ones into just things that
Oh, okay.
are.
I mean,
seem
I
to
can
be-
if I can name something offhand.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
can
This seems to be coming more
throw
as it
that in.
goes along. And then if you like those categories, I'll throw them at you next time, and we'll get a definitive list so that we're both on the same page. But anyway,
Yeah.
funniest. Some of this I sent you, and some of it I forgot to send you. So I'm sorry about that. Anyway,
No, it's okay.
funniest visual moment of the season. You're the real Simpsons fan here, so I'll let you go first each time. Go ahead.
So mine is a huge cheat. So I wrote 3 down. I didn't always for these. Most of them I just wrote 1. There's a couple where I was like, I can't pick. Don't put a gun to my head. Uh, one of them I wrote just all of Deep Space Homer. There's so many just great visual jokes in that, from the chip bit to like all their training. I love when Homer's face turns to Popeye and then turns to Nixon when they're blasting off. I also wrote Trambopoline, and I spelt it that way. I made sure to write it as Trambopoline. But all the visual stuff with that is really good.
That is legendary on the level of saxophone.
Absolutely. Well, I love too, even just outside of that, when he runs off to go get it, and there's just somebody pulling out of their driveway, and he rams into them, and he's like, "I don't think so. You're not taking my trambopoline." And then I also wrote the third one was the house and Homer the vigilante that stands up and runs away and then falls over and burns.
Well, and that's a brilliant setup and payoff gag. Like, that's already funny with the model, but then the fact that it goes all the way to there's a real one, it's freaking...
There's a real one.
It's brilliant.
It's so funny.
So would you believe that we have the same number 1 for that one? And I don't know that we'll full-on line up for anything else, but I also put that at the very top. I wrote a bunch. Yeah. That's the one I bolded.
It's so funny.
That got the biggest laugh from me. There's another one, though, that I didn't even write down that's suddenly coming to me now that I'm remembering just how hard I laughed at it. And that is... Because I watched it today, and I had to kind of power through the last 4 right before the show. And so some of that is gumming together a little bit. But the scene where Bart... I'm trying to remember. See, now I wish I'd written this down. Oh, yeah. Bart pulls guns on Mr. Burns with ketchup and mustard.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
When he's going to go on his date with Marge's mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the scene? Just the absurdity of that. I don't know why I thought that was so funny. Where he's like, I've got guns, and one is loaded with ketchup, and one is loaded with mustard. It was just like, I don't know. When you say it out loud, it doesn't sound that funny, but it was just the look of it, just like the way they animated that. It's so funny.
Well, because then when he drops one of them, and then Mr. Burns grabs it, and then they're in like a Mexican standoff. Nah, I can see that. That's funny.
I'll throw out a couple of other runners-up real quick. One of the absolute cleverest things I thought, and I mean, it is laugh-out-loud funny, but it's also super clever, is when I think it's Lisa after an Itchy and Scratchy cartoon says cartoons don't have to make complete sense. And then and Homer's in the room, and they have a second Homer walk past the window. That is so damn funny.
I almost wrote that down, and then I went, I'm writing too many things down.
I mean, it's fine. I wrote a lot of things down. The Treehouse 4, the AMC Gremlin. There's a gremlin on the side of the bus. And then
I'll take care of it.
The car explodes, but it explodes before it gets to the tree. Like, it stops just before the tree, and then it blows up. It's so good. Marge on the Lamb you get you get the librarian that says this is not a quickie mart after Apu says this is not a library. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's great.
We already talked about that rearranged Marge face in Marge of the Lamb, but again, I just think that's so cleverly animated. Oh, it's Boy Scouts in the Hood where the second Homer walks across. That's where that happens.
Yes, yeah, because the whole thing is I think Itchy ties a knot, and Bart's like, that's not an accurate knot. That's not what that looks like. And then Lisa's like, yeah, but it's a cartoon. It doesn't have to be realistic.
So I know there's a lot of really funny visual bits in Deep Space Homer, and you're totally right to just say the whole episode. But objectively, the funniest part. That's not fair. The funniest part, though. Barney slams a jetpack into a pillow factory, and they get run over by a marshmallow truck. Come on now. That's the funniest part.
That was one of the ones I was thinking of too.
That's brilliant. Okay,
with
sorry,
the chip one. No, I was just gonna say, and with the chip one, the funniest part of it isn't even just the visual thing; it's having Buzz Aldrin yell, "Look out! They're ruffled!
They're ruffled!" What is your funniest line of the season?
Okay, so my funniest line, it was so hard.
Austin, oh my god, I have 3 full pages.
That doesn't surprise me. Like I said, I could go episode by episode and be like, these are the 5 funniest lines. So I actually only wrote one down because I was like, this is what I'm gonna do.
You're just a real fan. One. You're a real fan. You could do 4 or 5 more off the top of your head. You're a real fan.
100% I could. So the one I went with is one that my dad and I say to each other every time I see him. So I was like, I feel like I have to say it just because of that. It's the hounds with bees in their mouth line. He and I say that like every single time.
It's really
every
funny.
time we see each other, we're like, what are you gonna do? Release the hounds, the bees, the hounds with bees in their mouths, and they shoot bees at you and they bark. But then, like, the Miguel Sanchez line would also be up there with me. There's way too many to count. Like, there's so many good lines.
It's really interesting that you went for a line that you quote a lot and that stuck with you since childhood, because I did the same thing, actually.
Cool.
There's a line. Remember I told you that the first 10 minutes of Boy Scouts in the Hood came back to me like I'd seen it 100,000 times.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that Jeff and I threw this line at each other all the time, which is, money can be exchanged for goods and services. $20 can buy mini peanuts. Explain how. Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
There's a lot of good Homer brain moments like that. That's a great bit.
I don't know what it is with like money jokes like that always land with me. There's a joke in an animated Tick episode kind of like that, where he accidentally destroys his microwave and announces, "This looks like a job for legal tender." Like jokes like that always make me laugh. I don't know. I just think it's really funny.
Well, and another good Homer brain moment this season is when he's singing the song about Mindy in Last Temptation of Homer, and Lisa walks in on him, and he's like, "Quick, come up with a good lie." And he's like, I got a small part in a Broadway show. It's not much, but it's a start." And then it cuts up to his brain, and it's like, "Bravo, bravo."
Well, do you mind if I throw 4 or 5 out?
No, go for it.
Because I wrote 3 full pages. Cape Fear. No one who speaks German could be an evil man.
It's true.
Homer goes to college. Now the great taste of Worcestershire sauce in a soft drink.
Mmm.
Steaky. This could be considered a visual joke and a line simultaneously, but I had a few of those. Homer goes to college. Now I won't need this high school diploma anymore, and burns it.
I am so smart. That's one my mom used to sing all the time, and she doesn't even like this show. But I always think of her with that. Is the I'm so smart SMRT.
You, you're going to college, and you don't think you need your high school diploma anymore. That kills. That's so funny. So I don't know if you have this with things. I'm sure you do. Where the line itself on paper isn't that funny, but the delivery,
absolutely,
puts you in the floor. The funniest Marge delivery in the entire season is real early. It's in Rosebud. Homer, have you been up all night eating cheese? I had to pause the episode.
Yeah, that's a great one. Fantastic.
I just thought this was a really kind of brilliant piece of writing. Rosebud.
Yeah.
Nelson. My old man can't get a beer because his old man won't give a bear to another old man. Some impressive wordplay there.
Well, I love that that also is like a screw the audience bit at the end of that where they're going to beat Bart up and then Martin walks by and they're like, let's beat him up instead. Another bit I love in Rosebud is when Mr. Burns is like, I've made it so there's no more beer in Springfield. It's all gone. And then there's the knock at the door and it's Barney with a gun and he goes, Homer, give him what he wants. And then Homer slams the door and you hear a gunshot and a scream.
Yes!
It's beautiful.
Bart's inner child, Homer says, it's that new show about the policeman who solves crimes in his spare time.
That's McGarnagle.
But that out of any context is so funny. It's a policeman.
Well, because you get that bit with that pops up twice in the season, and that bit's really
Toward
good.
The end,
and then
it comes
back.
And
the second time when it comes back, that's one of my favorite bits too, where he's trying to protect the kid, and then it cuts, and he's like, "Congratulations, McGarnagle, because of you, Billy's dead." And he goes, "Hey, I'm eating lunch here."
Yeah, Mikey cracked up at that. He thought that was really funny. He's got his big sandwich.
the big sub, yeah.
In Springfield, I always forget his name, but the pastor guy says...
Oh, Reverend Lovejoy.
Yeah, thank you. Once something is deemed legal by the government, it's no longer immoral.
It's true.
That's pretty good. And kind of goes along with some of the satire and social commentary through the season.
Yeah. Well, I also love right after that where Homer's like, Marge, we finally did something for the kids. And then we pan across the city and it's complete debauchery where people are drinking and making out on the streets.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, just great stuff.
Homer in Homer and Apu. I've learned life is one crushing defeat after another until you wish Flanders was dead. That was just funny because it came out of nowhere. We hadn't even been dealing with any Flanders stuff, and then immediately after that, we get Homer loves Flanders, or pretty soon after that.
Yeah, no, it's only an episode or two after.
They start to feel more, at least idea-wise and character-wise, connected toward the end. That's part of why I'm saying the last, 6 to 8 feel almost like it's a different season.
Yeah, for sure.
Homer loves Flanders. Ned, move it. I can't. It's a Geo.
It's a Geo.
I drove a really crappy Geo Storm in college, and have I ever told you about this car? It was.
I don't think so.
It was a stick shift, and it had. And I like driving stick shift. I had a couple cars that way, but it had purple lightning bolts on the side, like painted on the sides of it.
Oh no. It's a Geostorm, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody did that to that car. But it was cheap, so I bought it.
Embarrassing.
I know. The boy who knew too much. Tonight, the dog from Frasier is gonna ride the dolphin from Sequest.
When I got to that line, I was like, "Oh, Cap's killing himself."
I was. That made me happy. I just love that show because like that's so obscure now. Nobody remembers Sequest. I love that it is immortalized in The Simpsons.
Exactly. Also, in Bart Gets the Elephant, I love earlier on when they're trying to get Bart to take the money instead of the elephant. When they bring in Skinner and they're like, oh, you know, he'll take his pants off or whatever for like the whole like school year, and he's like, I'll do it. And Bart's like, no, and they're like, okay, well, what if we just take the money and then use it to turn Skinner into some sort of a lobster-like creature?
He's like,
hey, I didn't agree to that.
I didn't agree to this.
I love that, and then I love at the end of the episode where they run over the deer model, and Homer goes, "Don't." And then Lisa goes,
I wrote that too.
Oh, we hit a deer. And Marge goes, a female deer.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I was like, that's so dumb and clever at the same time.
I'll mention one more because I just found it kind of disarming. Like I wasn't expecting this moment. Lady Bovier's lover, when Marge's mother says you're the devil himself, and Vern says, "Who told you?"
Beautiful.
That's pretty good. And that's after we've seen him at his most horrifying.
That's true. But at least in Burns' Air, he did kick Bart with a giant boot, which is funny.
Yeah, before he decided to make him his heir.
Yeah. Also, some of Homer's best moments where he gives Bart the card to go on stage to impress Burns, and he's like, "Hello, Mr. Kearns. I am sick, need money now." And Homer in the background goes, "Oh, he card read good."
And then later when he's like, "It's Kearns," and Marge's like, "No, it isn't.
It's Kearns, stupid.
No, it's not."
No, it's not. Okay, ignore that.
So Austin, I think you already mentioned it earlier, but what would you say is the most legitimately heartwarming moment?
For me, it's probably just Bart and Skinner's relationship and Sweet Seymour Skinner's badass song.
I can't believe they made that an episode title.
It's beautiful, yeah. No, I really like their relationship in that episode. I think it's genuinely heartwarming.
No, it is.
Mm-hmm.
The big one for me is all the stuff with Homer and Maggie, and then Burns and Maggie in Rosebud.
Sure. Yeah. No, all that stuff is really sweet.
That
too.
stuff really played for me.
Mm-hmm.
Bart and Skinner realizing they can't be friends anymore at the end of Sweet Seymour.
Yeah, and like
it's a short moment, but it works.
Yeah. Exactly.
Homer's speech at the church about how everybody should be like Ned Flanders in Homer Loves Flanders.
Yeah.
That's close to heartwarming.
I mean, there's not a lot to pick in this season. It's not a very heartwarming season.
No, but it works. I don't know, like it's funny how like fun and bright it feels, but it's like, it's really cynical.
Yeah.
But, like, not in a depressing way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a little bit more depressing now than it would have been back then.
Yeah, fair enough.
Best pop culture reference.
Oh god, this was a hard one. So I also wrote. Well, I only wrote two. So this is kind of my second one's a bit of a cheat, which is why I included it because it's like a history reference, while the first is a like a more traditional pop culture reference. But the first one is one that I always thought was a reference to something else as a kid, but what I thought it was a reference to was also referencing what it's referencing. You gotta love that.
You just did a reference-ception thing.
Exactly. But it's in Cape Fear. It's Sideshow Bob's love and hate tattooed across his knuckles. Which I always thought was a reference to a Clash song, but they're both referencing a 1950s movie. But specifically because they only have 3 fingers, the way that they get around that is really funny.
Yeah, like that was over my head as a pop culture reference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, for the longest time, I was like, "Oh, it's a reference to that Clash song." No, it's not. But that's part of why I love it. But it's also just funny on its own. And then my other one, which is the history reference, is I think it's hilarious in Burns' Air when they get Krusty to deliver the pizza. And they're like, "Wait a minute, like your show's on right now," and he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's a rerun." And then we cut to the TV, and he pulls out the note, and he's like, "Everybody, the Falklands have been invaded. I repeat, the Falklands have been invaded." And then he stops to explain like what the issue is there, and then Krusty's just like, "Oh God, this is gonna bite me." So those were the 2 I wrote down, but there's a million good possible ones.
Yeah, there's so much. Well, most of what I wrote down were more ubiquitous things that more people would actually understand were pop culture references.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it's a tough pick. I'll mention a couple runners up too, but the one I ultimately put at the top is My Dinner with Andre, the video game. Because how can you not?
Tell me more.
That's in Boy Scouts in the Hood.
Yeah, we get 2 good ones there where you get that, and we cut to the next game with Bush in the game where he's like, "Winners don't do drugs."
yeah, that's great. Homer calling Action Comics #1 crap at a rummage sale in Homer's Barbershop Quartet. And then also in that episode, I didn't want to put this in music choice. I thought it was better for pop culture reference, but I have always laughed at Theme from a Summer Plays. I think it's one of the funniest things in this entire show.
Yeah.
It's the theme. That's a good one. From a Summer Plays. And then my mind was blown when I realized that song is in Batman '89.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
Have we talked about that?
I don't remember where it is. Yeah, I remember you telling me about it where you were like, "Oh my God, it's in '89."
It's the song that Lawrence is playing on his boombox when the Joker sits down with Vicky Vale at the Flugelheim.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get what sounds like this elevator music. Do you remember when he like shoots the fire across the candles?
Yeah.
It's Theme from a Summer Plays.
A Summer Plays.
My mind was blown when I realized that. One where I just absolutely lost my mind and could not believe they thought to put this in an episode. Homer Loves Flanders. And that was Bobby McFerrin's new one, I'm Worried Need Money. That's spectacular. I happen to be a Bobby McFerrin fan. I think that's so freaking funny.
Well, then next season we'll get Dr. Demento on the radio.
Oh, that's great. And then I probably could have put this in disturbing moments, but all the cleaning mascots and Bart gets an elephant.
Oh yeah, that is pretty disturbing.
Pretty freaking weird. Okay, best music choice. Everything is hard.
It is hard, yeah. Mine is so oddly specific, but mine is the classic Rappin' Ronnie Reagan CD, or not? It's not even a CD; it's a tape that Homer says, which is like drastically changed the way I speak, because that's where I start doing the well, and it all starts from when he pulls out the tape, and it's the well. It's so funny.
That is oddly specific.
No, I think about that on like, I'm not gonna say a daily basis, but like, and I say well on a daily basis.
You do,
and it starts from that. So,
especially by this season, this almost needs to be two different categories. There's like original stuff they did and like incidental music that they pull.
Yeah.
But like if I could only pick one from all of that, I guess it has to be Who Needs the Quickie Mart. For reasons I stated earlier, and like Springfield would be really close in there. But then for like incidental stuff,
Baby on Board.
Yeah, or Baby on Board, sure. But for incidental stuff that they did or that they pulled in, it's probably Rainbows and Lollipops.
I was gonna say if we're gonna do both, for me it's that with Welcome to the Jungle. That part's really funny.
I just liked how well, like, we haven't talked about this much, but there's a lot of really good setup and payoff, both for gags, and just even in traditional storytelling, as like goofy as the show is, but the way it'll do kind of the Chekhov's gun and like set a thing up and then bring it back later, like with the Swiss Army knife in Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
And so he does that with that gag where it's like you don't expect that to show up on Wiggum's radio or Wiggum sound system. That's pretty great.
Well, they kind of do it in oh my god! Now I'm just saying the song instead of the episode title in Rosebud, where Mr. Burns is going to go destroy or like break into the house at the end where he's got the tank. And it plays like the dun, 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 and then it swaps to the ABBA song.
Oh yeah.
So like they kind of do it in reverse there.
That's true.
Or I guess because that episode comes first, the one that we're talking about with the Sunshine Lollipops one would be the reverse, but still.
Yeah, that's a good call. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Mm.
Do you have a disturbing moment? Because I also felt like there were fewer of those this season.
Well, I feel like I always struggle on disturbing moments, but the one that I put is Smithers' Mr. Burns AI computer thing, and Lisa versus Malibu Stacy.
It's disturbing because
Hello,
Lisa
Smithers,
sees
you are really good at turning me on. Yeah, and Lisa's like just standing there watching it. It's very weird, and he's like naked like that. It's
pretty messed up.
It's creepy.
That was kind of nice because you got Smithers in a decent cameo apart from Burns.
Yeah.
Kind of gave him his own thing.
Just kind of doing his own thing.
And that seems appropriate for him. That he'd be the world's biggest Malibu Stacy collector. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. No, that's a fun addition.
The one I decided to put at the top is Secrets of a Successful Marriage, with Homer losing it in the treehouse, and he's got that plant that he replaces Marge with.
Yeah.
That's pretty messed up.
Oh, actually, not just that, but also there's the one where Bart gives Homer the wig coupon, and then Homer has the thought of him with Marge's hair.
Oh,
and he's like, oh, I don't even need Marge anymore.
Oh, that's true.
That's real weird and creepy.
That's a
too.
different episode, even.
Yeah, that's such just like a small bit. I can't remember offhand what
It's
episode
real
that's
early,
in.
but you're right. It's interesting they did both of those the same season.
Mm.
And then what almost made it to the top for me, but this is kind of more general, is just Skinner's relationship with his mother.
Oh yeah. Well, that's one of the best bits in the Treehouse episode where he's like, "Bart, I'm riding the bus now because Mother took my keys after hearing me talk to a woman on the phone. She was right to do it."
That she was right to do. I wrote all that down. That was the reason I put this down in the first place. But then I kept bringing in examples of it because it comes back a lot.
Oh yeah, they love Skinner and his mom jokes.
Because then you get Bart's inner child where he rips up a dummy pretending to be his mother, and then we reveal that she's sitting there watching it happen.
Yeah, then he's like, "Oh, we're still going out though, right?"
It's so messed up. Okay, we're adding one that we should have always had, and I'm not sure if maybe we did this last season 2 years ago already or not, but we need to be doing best sign, because there's always a lot of really funny signs. Did you write anything down for best sign?
So I did. It wasn't exactly a sign. Mine was a book title, but I was like, that would fall into the same kind of joke category.
That's not
exactly
spoken. I'm gonna count as a sign.
Exactly, that's what I figured. So mine was in Bart's Inner Child, where Homer's reading a self-help book called "Being Okay with Your Okayness."
That's pretty good.
I was like, that's great.
Homer and Apu, Monstro City, where shopping is a baffling ordeal.
I also,
and then,
I almost put in. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
And then added to that immediately after we go inside the store and express lane 1,000 items or less.
I also almost put in the Homer goes to college one where they go to the other college and the sign out front says something like, "If you went here, you'd be home by now."
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I did not write that one down. That one's pretty good. So there's one I'm really surprised you didn't write down.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought of you immediately.
And maybe I missed it or like didn't think of it by the time I had to write that.
We go into the store. This is another store one with all the dolls in Lisa versus Malibu Stacy, and it's Valley of the Dolls.
Oh yeah, you know what? Now that you say that, I've like definitely laughed at that before, but I think I just missed it this time rewatching it. But that is great.
I had a hard time not, and I'm sure I missed some things, like not accidentally missing some sight gags because I was sitting here trying to write stuff down, and I was trying not to pause so much that this is going to be a 20-hour watch.
Well, I know they've talked about like the sign gag stuff was them, making things for like devoted fans to look for when they got it like at home or like recorded it or whatever to like pause for.
Well, it gives it a lot of rewatch value.
Mm-hmm.
Like
exactly.
More than, like I said earlier, that throwaway entertainment that's meant to be aired once and then maybe reruns, but that you wouldn't have any reason to hang on to.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now we get to couch gags and chalkboard gags. We talked about this last season, but you've got fewer of them in general because we've truncated the intro much of the time, and because we'll do repeat ones for at least the couch gags. But there are some new ones this season.
Yeah.
And did you have one for couch gag?
Yes, my couch gag. I wrote 3 down as well. I wrote the one where they all stomp on the Fox logo, the David Letterman one, and the Monty Python foot one. I wrote those 3 down.
The Letterman one went to the top of my list.
Yeah.
But I also really like the Fox logo one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and for signs, I forgot to mention Siskel and Ebert the movie.
Oh, yes.
And Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs up.
They were just like on an Ebert thing. 'Cause you also get that good joke in Last Temptation of Homer where like the thing he's supposed to say written down his hand, and then he gets there and he's like, I'm sweating like Roger Ebert here.
Oh, yeah.
And then he can't read it.
I gotta say, I'm actually a little surprised there's not one or two more jokes about that, given that we've got writers that have left the show to make a show implicitly about that.
That might be why, like, just because like Al Jean and Mike Reese have left to go do that.
That's true. I'm surprised there's not more of it the previous season.
Yeah, no, that's true. At least we'll be getting their crossover episode.
Yeah,
I think
that's
next
true.
season.
Well, so I wanted to mention or suggest this real quick. Because we've been taking way too long to get to these, I don't want to suggest that this is the next thing we do. We should probably do the next Simpsons season and prove to people that we actually still have interest in doing this show. But I really would like to do an overview like this on The Critic at some point. And I kind of don't want to get too far away from this time period when we do it. So I'm going to suggest maybe we do one more Simpsons and then do that show.
Yeah, I mean that'd be fine with me.
Because I always wanted to talk about that. Like 9 people will care, but I would like to weigh in on that show at some point.
Yeah, and I've never seen it.
It's short. It had 2 seasons, and I think they might even be short episode counts. I forget. We don't even necessarily have to do both seasons. We could just do one, but I would like to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
I like John Lovitz a lot. And I've seen John Lovitz live.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was the week before lockdown.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about that, yeah.
It was crazy. It was like the last thing I got to do out in public before lockdown. Okay, do you have a chalkboard gag?
Yes. So for the 100th episode, I will not celebrate meaningless milestones.
I really appreciated that because they're not like numbering them, so I don't know it's the 100th episode. So as soon as I see that, I'm like, there it is. It's the 100th episode.
Yeah.
The one I wrote down was from Sweet Seymour. There are plenty of businesses like show business.
I think the Sweet Seymour episode is the 100th episode.
Oh, then I wrote the wrong one down. That's in some episode, and I'm not sure which one it is. But I thought that was funny.
Okay. Yeah.
I assigned it to the wrong show. I apologize. Okay. Well, anyway, I have no credibility. MVP of the season.
So I wrote it kind of weird, but I wrote like just in terms of what they are going for, it's Homer.
Yeah.
For me, it's Lionel Hutz, and then I also just wrote the world in general because we go to just minor characters so much. I was like, I feel like in a way, just the world is kind of the MVP here.
Well, I keep saying,
but for me personally, it's Lionel Hutz.
I keep saying world building. That's not even exactly accurate. It's more just playing in the sandbox now that you've developed for 4 years.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's more so we have all the tools in the box.
But they are progressing some character stuff where like we're getting a lot more definition for some of these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think almost objectively, just for the whole like what they're doing, it's Homer. If I had to pick another character, like I almost want to pick somebody outside of the house each time.
Yeah,
but like
definitely
for the characters in the house, like it's definitely Homer this season. Beyond that, it's maybe Burns.
Yeah, we go to Burns quite a bit.
I feel like it's a really good
Burns
season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like in a way it's kind of a return to season 2, where season 2 is really a Burns season. And but here's probably the closest we've gotten back to that.
Yeah, but he's got better stuff here.
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, I think Rosebud's probably his best episode.
And then by the time you get to the end of the season, I could almost say Skinner, but we didn't do a lot with him before that, so like I don't feel like I could say that through the whole season. But he suddenly really comes alive and is adding a lot toward the end.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit in the back half. Some good stuff.
Like you said, we're going to have to retire the new character category, but we've got a few this season.
Yeah, I did write one because I was like, there are technically a couple.
Yeah.
I just wrote Uter because out of the ones that we have, he gets my favorite bit, which is in the treehouse episode, where he's licking his weird flavor stick. But I think just in general, of the characters that we get, Cletus will be the best of the new characters introduced in this season. It's just he doesn't really get like a ton to do.
Yeah, there wasn't one that really stood out for me. Like, gun to my head, if I had to pick somebody, it's maybe Luigi because of the weirdness of that character being introduced at the end and then immediately being in another episode. It's very strange.
That's true too. Yeah, and he gets that good bit where he's like, the stupid kid's bag. Give him that crappy red paste.
Give him the red crap.
Yeah, that's what it is. Give him the red crap. He's sad.
Best guest character.
So are we splitting it in terms of cameo and guest? Because I know you mentioned that to
I've
me.
got it split on mine that way, yeah.
Okay, that is how I did it, so that works out. I put best guest character as James Woods. He's one of my favorite guests just in the show in general.
I have the same thing.
Yeah,
that whole thing's really funny. That's Homer and Apu.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because I think they wanted Michael Caine for it, and then he said no, so they had to go to James Woods after that. And like, I don't think it would be as funny with Michael Caine. But also, like, I feel bad because there are some really good guest spots here. It's just the James Woods bit is so funny that it kind of takes over some of the other really good ones.
Yeah, because Pfeiffer in Last Temptation of Homer is legitimately really good.
Yeah, no, she's fantastic in it. Like I said, Albert Brooks is always great when he comes in. I felt so stupid learning it this time, but like Sam Neill's really good in his episode, Homer the Vigilante.
I didn't catch that with him either.
Yeah, and I just never knew that, and it like finally hit me this time. So there's definitely a lot of good ones, but James Woods is just so funny. I love when he's talking to Jimbo, and he's like, "Okay, you're you, I'm me," and he's just Jimbo's like, "I'm me," and then James Woods grabs him and he goes, "Look, don't jerk me around here, fellow." He's so funny.
For best cameo, we already talked about this earlier. I had the no one-termers thing in Rosebud. I think that's so funny. The George Bush
that's
bit.
great. Yeah, that's a fantastic bit. Mine is the Ramones, where they play Happy Birthday to Mr. Burns in his episode. It's so funny, and then Smithers have the Rolling Stones killed after they play is also really funny.
Isn't it odd that this season almost bookends with birthdays?
True, yeah. Almost.
Because we do a Maggie birthday right at the end, and I wonder how many times we do a Maggie birthday. I wonder how many times in the show she turns one.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. There's nothing that's like coming to mind for that, but like it's not like that's a giant plot, like the major point of that plot in that episode either. So
I thought it was almost surreal seeing her walk in that episode. Because like it's almost like they're trying to progress her into toddlerhood, but she's usually gonna crawl.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's kind of funny that Rosebud, because that opens with Burns' birthday, and then obviously like the big end is between him and Maggie. So it's kind of funny that they almost bookend with birthdays like that.
And that's I'm positive not on purpose, but it's just really interesting that it worked out that way.
Think so.
Well, especially because they had made 2 more episodes that they staved off, so that wasn't even supposed to be the last episode.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, then it's the second last.
Second last, okay. Well, but that's interesting because Rosebud is the Well, I guess it's not Rosebud. Where does the Burns birthday happen? Is that Rosebud?
It's Rosebud.
Because
Yeah, it's episode 4.
Is it 4? I thought it was the second episode of the season.
No, Cape Fear is.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
But I mean, it's still close to lining up.
It's pretty close.
Like a bookend.
Yeah.
It's close, yeah.
Okay, now we get to best episode. Good luck.
Yeah, so my best episode is nobody's best episode, but
mine might be also, honestly. Go ahead.
It's one of my favorite episodes of the show, if not my favorite episode, and one that I go back to the most. It's Marge on the Lamb, and it's mostly for Lionel Hutz, but I also just think in general that episode's really funny.
Yeah, like it is. It's a little bit more middle of the road for me, but
no, I think it is for most people. But for whatever reason, that episode just really hits me when I think of episodes I want to rewatch. I'm like, oh, it's that one. But I have this thing as I've gotten older where I latch on to Marge episodes more as I've gotten older.
That's interesting.
Where there's some of my favorite episodes, like season to season, when I actually like break down and think about it, and it's something I never would have guessed, but for whatever reason,
one thing I noticed,
that's the way,
and I kind of expected it to fall off, and I don't know that it does. Tell me if you agree with this. She seems angrier this season.
She's definitely. I also feel like she gets a smaller role this season in general, but there's definitely like a more like stern thing in places, and then for the most part, she's just kind of playing support role through the season.
I just think she's got a lot of like not having it, not taking any crap from people. It's really funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, remember, it's real early. You brought this up earlier when you had that episode where you get to the end and she's like, they're like, "Is this a happy ending or is it?" It's an ending. It's good enough. And then the episode's over. I'm like, damn, Marge, calm down. But she's
Put
like that.
The knife down, Marge.
She's like that in several. Yeah, and then she becomes a compulsive gambler, and it feels like she's almost like taken enough of Homer's crap that she's accidentally turning more into Homer.
Well, and also in Rosebud, there's like the bit where you think she's going to be like, okay, we should just give Burns the bear back, and then she's like, no, let's like extort him for money, and everyone's like, whoa, Marge.
And then she's like, I can be petty too, or whatever it is she says.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the obvious one, I mean, there's a few. Like everybody goes to Cape Fear. I like Sideshow Bob well enough, but those are never my favorite episodes. Homer's Barbershop Quartet would have been my pick. I expected to be my pick because it's always been one of my favorite episodes, and now that I've seen this whole season, it's hard for me not to pick an episode that I think is more kind of indicative of what the season is doing best overall. And I've brought this up a lot earlier, so you might be able to call it, but I think I'm going with Bart's Inner Child.
It's another great one.
So much variety in that episode, and I feel like variety is the name of the game for the whole season. One of the reasons that it's so strong is it doesn't repeat itself. I mean, it does with jokes sometimes on purpose, and like we've talked about tropes and themes that it likes to go back to, but there's just a ton of variety in like characters it focuses on, and particularly concepts.
Yeah, for sure.
And there are some concepts that it kind of redoes or kind of goes back to. Like, we could almost have a Homer and Flanders as friends category. They don't do it every season, but they do it not infrequently. Like, it's not the first time they've become friends.
Well, they kind of become the same way. Like, it's the same kind of thing that you have with Bart and Nelson, where just at a certain point, yeah, they've got like an antagonistic relationship, but we'll also just show them hanging out quite a bit at a certain point. they kind of follow the same trajectory.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I
Mhm.
am excited to hear your worst episode because none of this is bad.
Yeah, no, my worst was very much I guess it's this. I
Gotta
don't
pick
know. This is
something.
still a good episode, but the one I put was Lady Bouvier's Lover, just because it's the one I tend to go back to the least.
Oh,
But
interesting.
like, it's a good episode. There's plenty in it that's really funny. It was the unfortunate luck of the draw.
That is maybe the most unlikely episode of the season. That's the
Hmm.
weirdest possible love triangle you could put together.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Especially because you never even expect to see Marge's mother. Like, she's been in the show before, but she always feels like real in the background. You almost forget that she exists. And
Mhm.
so for her to be like a main guest character like that was
Yeah.
already surprising. And then you throw Burns in the mix, like you, you're really not expecting that to turn into a goofy love triangle.
Mhm. Well, I guess, and I'm trying to remember that it might like be seeded earlier than this, but that might be kind of the start of Burns and Grandpa as rivals because we go back to that, especially as we keep going. We go back to that a lot.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Because then we'll add like the whole war background where they serve together.
Yeah, and I was gonna say we're laying a lot of foundation for that for Skinner. Like we go to his war background quite a bit.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So I also just had to kind of pick something. The one that least I jumped out to me, I felt like the one that maybe I like laughed at the least and just didn't love the resolution of as much as some of the rest of it is Boy Who Knew Too Much.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I like that episode a lot, but
Again,
that's
like none of
fair.
it's bad.
No, I know. Uh, no, fair enough.
Okay, so I had some other kind of fun, random, disparate notes that I want to hit a few of
Yeah,
before
go
we
for it.
do our commentary. And thanks for sticking with us, folks. Uh, these are always long, and I'm taking my time because we made you wait 2 years. Oh, I did write down. Yeah, it's so the two episodes that were produced for this season that show up next season are Bart of Darkness and Lisa's Rival.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Lisa's Rival's the other one.
Both good episodes.
Um, I mentioned Marge being overly angry. Bleeding Gums Murphy gets referenced at least twice. I
I think I noticed it once. I must have missed the second one.
He's on a record in Barbershop Quartet, and he's on the cover of a magazine in Marge and the Lamb.
Oh, okay, so that second one's the one I missed. Okay. And then next season we'll get his big sequel episode, which is really good.
So these are just random observations. Bart's Inner Child retroactively reminds me of Yes Man. It's almost that movie done like slightly
Okay,
better.
yeah.
Um, Marge having a weird hairstyle comes up a lot now.
Hmm. That is true. Yeah, we mentioned that quite a few times. Having a bizarre hairstyle.
The psychologist guy from season one that we never do anything with anymore, but it's occasionally the background shows up in the festival in Bart's Inner Child. That guy's back.
Oh, I'm glad you had that in there. Yeah, Marvin.
I always forget his name. Yeah, I just wrote some interesting things I found.
Oh, well, he's gonna be dead soon, so.
Um, nice bits of continuity. We bring back Capital City in Last Temptation of Homer, and the sisters are still obsessed with MacGyver in Homer the Vigilante. It used to come up all the time. I think it only comes up once now, but we've not forgotten about it. And that ancient
And
statue
Grandpa
head is
with
still in the basement.
yes, it is. Yeah, and I think Grandpa's love for Matlock comes up too.
I thought that started this season. Had that been brought up before?
Oh, maybe.
Because the
I
Matlock
feel like that just kind
thing,
of comes up now and then.
because the Matlock thing comes up 3 or 4 times in this,
Hmm.
and I've got some nitpicks later, and one of them is about Matlock.
Oh,
There
well,
is.
Matlock gets a big thing next season.
Oh, interesting. There's little nods to Barbershop Quartet's talent in other episodes. I mentioned that earlier. Here's specific examples. In Springfield, Homer and Barney together go on the Gong Show. That's interesting, given that they were both in the barbershop, and or in the
And they were
quart-
gone
in the
the
quartet.
time too.
Yeah, and
They
they
didn't
were
do
gone.
well.
And then we're told that Barney has a lot of experience in dance. And then in Bart Gets
Yeah.
Famous, Homer has a one-man band with an electric guitar.
I'm getting a job, Dad. Gig, son.
And then
The
this was a thought
musician job is a gig.
this is a thought I had with when Marge becomes a gambling addict and has to bring Maggie with her to the casino. Can you imagine 36 years of a TV show where writers have to constantly remember that they have a baby in the show and know who is watching that baby at all times?
Or who's not watching them, yeah.
Yeah. Like when you have a stagnant group of people that aren't allowed to age, just the logistics involved with that. That's got to
It's
be
usually
irritating.
Marge.
That's got to be so annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything with the box factory is hilarious.
Yep.
I love the box factory.
We love the box factory. It's like so boring. Where I love that they don't even fully complete the boxes in the factory.
But how excited Skinner is about it.
Well, yeah, Skinner and Martin are like, yes, even though they went there last year.
They couldn't wait to go back.
I love when they go, what is that across the street? And it's the like the movie studio or like the TV studio, whatever you want to say. And he's like, oh, that's just the studio where they make many non-box related programs. I'm gonna close the blinds.
In Bart Gets Famous, we get a Futurama head.
Yes,
Kim
that was a big
Carlisle?
thing I wanted to mention too. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Where it's like, oh, we're seeing some stuff here.
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing where you see sort of the life
Yeah.
support system.
Yeah, it's designed a little bit differently, but like it's pretty much the same.
There is a wonderful juxtaposition with Mo, where between different episodes you see two completely opposite sides of him. He has a secret exotic animal smuggling ring, but he also reads to the homeless. just want to bring that up.
And cries while reading Little Women to them.
Exactly. You get the exotic animal thing a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of this we've mentioned already. I mentioned Burns is at his most evil when he's grooming Bart in Burns' ear. That whole him in that whole episode, I could have said, is the most disturbing thing.
Oh yeah, when he puts Bart in the suit that like is made to mold him to have the
Yes!
hunchback.
Everybody gets more to do this season. Even the pets get more to do this season. You get Santa's Little Helper with the show and tell in the Sweet Seymour episode, and then I especially like him and the cat in Bart Gets an Elephant, where they're doing tricks trying to get everybody to pay attention to them.
They learn how to speak. I love how just nobody acknowledges that. It's so just in the middle of just a scene too. The only thing with Santa's Little Helper is he doesn't get an episode this season, but
Right.
they also get plenty of little moments.
I guess that's true that he has already gotten more than
Yeah,
one.
every now and then we'll do, but I mean, it's usually a Bart episode about Santa's Little Helper, so like
That's true.
you also have to frame it that way.
This is the problem with only doing these every 2 years. I think it's
That's fine.
amusing that we haven't seen Molman most of the season, and then he's on the jury in The Boy Who Knew Too Much just 2 episodes after Homer thinks he's Bart in Burns' ear.
And kissing him is like kissing a peanut.
I also think, yeah, again in the back quarter or so, some of these like intentional or otherwise kind of callbacks to things that just happen, or not callbacks, but like, isn't it interesting that someone is doing this just after this other thing happened when we're not making a serialized show? So you've got in Lady Beauvais' Lover, Bart trying to ingratiate himself to Burns just 2 episodes after he almost was the heir to Burns' fortune.
Yeah. Also, the Mole Man thing that you said just reminded me too. I hadn't really thought about this, but we also at least 3 times go to hiring somebody, like a professional, to do a job that they immediately fail at.
Yeah.
Where you have the guy that they hire to get Sideshow Bob off their back in Cape Fear, and then he just goes to him and he's like, please leave them alone. He just kind of whines at him. And then you have that one with the Mole Man one where they get the guy to deprogram Bart, and he
gets the wrong
programs
guy.
Mole Man into loving The Simpsons. And then
I want to know what that guy was supposed to be based on. Sorry, like, he had such a weird face, like he was almost an albino. Like, I don't know what that guy was.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then in Lisa versus Malibu Stacy, they hire the guy to like threaten the Simpsons, and he just drives by and there's a brick at the door, and they're like, "What was that?" That's probably nothing.
That's really funny. For anyone that wants Simpsons trivia, Marge's mother's name is Jacqueline. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, Jacqueline Bouvier. Yeah, and I don't think her dad has ever had an.
Oh, really?
I think he's just Marge's dad, but he's very inconsistent when we do show him.
Another thing that might that could have been a contender for best music choice is the and in fact probably the thing that most should disqualify Lady Beauvais' Lover for your worst of episode is the sound of Grandpa.
Is the sound of what, sorry?
The sound of Grandpa.
Yes.
It's so good. And then he has a speech at the end of the credits that gets shushed by the sound you always get at the end before dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. That alone makes it too good to be your worst episode.
That's fair enough. Like I said, it's not a bad episode. There's a lot of great stuff in it. I also like when they sing the Armor Hot Dog song. Yeah, it's just very specifically the way they animate Bart saying "kids who climb on things," where he's like, it's just something about the way they animate him makes me laugh every time.
I just love the idea that the only songs that they sing are commercials because they're in a TV show. And so they have another sort of meta joke with that, where they're kind of they're kind of making fun of like product placement and stuff.
Well, and it also made me laugh this time too, because there are a couple points where Homer sings commercials before that, so it's almost kind of building on a running gag. Another good music point too that we didn't mention. Which is like a subversion from what they've been doing previously, which is when Homer said he couldn't get tickets to the game. He hits the radio and it starts playing 2 Tickets to Paradise.
Oh yeah.
And they used to do it where they do something like that, like the ironic song, and they're like, "Oh man, that sucks." But Homer just starts jamming out for a minute, and that's pretty funny.
I think we forgot to mention the sports category. I think that's the only episode that
Yes,
that
yeah,
has any sports.
that one would be the only one that would count because they go to a football game.
Okay, Austin, I'm gonna blow through some nitpicks. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, here are my nitpicks. Now I wrote these as I was going, so it's possible that some of these are dumb retroactively, but we'll see what I wrote here. Here we go.
Yeah.
Bart is a giant Krusty the Clown fan. He's obsessed with Krusty. That's never changed. Why would he not want a Krusty album in Homer's Barbershop Quartet? He's going through albums. He throws it away. He's not interested in it. Doesn't make any sense.
It must have been a bad Krusty album. No, he would want that.
Why don't the B Sharps have a name until they've already signed and have fired Wiggum for Barney?
Every time we get to that point where they name themselves, I'm like, oh, that's right, they didn't have a name up until now.
They've been on a label and they don't have a name.
Well, I guess that's like their first night, with the label, I guess. But at the same time, you would think that they would have a name.
So, I was concerned about the inconsistent cartoon logic until the show finally addressed it with the cartoons don't have to be 100% realistic thing. But there's still at least one place that I think it goes too far for the general logic of the show if they're not making a joke out of it. And that is Sideshow Bob suddenly having costumes and props, and then Bart looking at a playbill in Cape Fear. That's going a little far.
Ah, that part's great.
No, it is great, but just pulling that stuff out of nowhere, like, the show doesn't do that.
No, fair enough.
That's literally the only place where it goes that far.
That is after he steps on a rake that's like inside the boathouse.
I might be wrong. There might be a couple other places that do that, but it's very, very rare. Like, it doesn't.
I also love my favorite joke in that entire episode, and it's another one my dad and I quote a lot, which is when they're driving, and Homer's like, "Okay, kids, like, who wants to drive through the cactus patch?" And it's like, yeah, no, 2 against 1.
Okay, are you ready for this? This is how far the nitpicks go. Oh. In Rosebud, Burns hits Homer with a piñata stick and it hurts. But in the previous episode, Homer goes to college, he tries to hit a man with a baseball bat and is so frail he can hardly touch him.
Oh, yeah, we're always super inconsistent with Mr. Burns' strength.
In Treehouse 4, why does Homer have to save the last bite of donut the devil gives him? If he eats all of it, the devil owns his soul, but there's nothing in the clause about destroying it, and he doesn't intend to eat it, so why does he have to keep it around?
Well, I guess because I would think that if it just like fades away or like is destroyed, it would count because it doesn't exist anymore. Like it's gone.
But specifically, he has to eat it. He has to finish it. There's nothing about it having to exist.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that would count as it being finished.
Maybe. How the hell do Marge and Ruth get on top of the Springfield sign in Marge on the Lamb?
Oh, that makes me laugh every time. It's
How do they get up there? In Boy
There's
Scouts,
lots of black smoke coming from my house.
In Boy Scouts in the Hood, that $20 Bart gets sure goes far.
Oh, it does, yeah. Well, it was the 90s. Inflation.
In The Last Temptation of Homer, Homer has shockingly decent handwriting.
Yeah.
I would not expect that guy's handwriting to look that good. But then, hilariously, when they show other people's handwriting, it's exactly the same.
Well, yeah, and you get the great bit with the guy with the giant hand.
Also in The Last Temptation of Homer, if Mindy has all the same habits that Homer does and is just like him, how is she that thin?
It's just Michelle Pfeiffer.
That's how.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got two more of these. In
Well,
Lisa,
Homer has the "No Fat Chicks" T-shirt later on, so he wouldn't have gone for her if that were the case.
that's true. In Lisa versus Malibu Stacy, is it Andy Griffith or actual Matlock who makes a public appearance? Because everybody just refers to him as Matlock, and then he never says anything. And I was waiting for an Andy Griffith appearance. He's not in that. They just keep saying Matlock.
Matlock. It's Matlock, dude.
Also, similar to the question about why the B Sharps don't have a name yet, why do they make a bunch of Lisa's doll before that has a name? There's boxes and boxes of them. She's like, what are we going to call this?
Oh, very true.
Finally, in Burns' Air, Mr. Burns has a camera in Homer's bathroom, but he doesn't know who Homer is.
No, you know what's even funnier than that? And it was part of my just all the visuals for this episode. Is when in Deep Space Homer, when they open the door and Homer flies out and he grabs the handle, he's gonna fly out of the space shuttle. We cut back to NASA and they're watching like this happen on their little monitor, and the camera angle that they have in it is from space looking inside the shuttle.
That's some Star Trek logic, right? Where's the camera?
Yeah. It's a telescope. No, I feel like we've hammered stuff through pretty well.
We've been pretty thorough.
Yeah, like I feel like we've pretty much hit every episode in some way or another.
Senior Sticks, is this Geefalution up all night? Pretty much.
Oh, we feel like chicken tonight. Chicken tonight.
Would you check the poll and see if
Yeah.
we're still watching the Sideshow Bob episode?
Will do. And we are. Homer the Vigilante had like no votes, and it shot up and almost beat it.
Oh, that's shocking.
But it was one short. Yeah.
Austin, if you're cool with it, let's take just a real quick break, and then
I was going to ask if we could, just because I was going to go get some more water.
Yeah, because we've been at this for like 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, everybody, stick with us. We're going to do a commentary for you on Cape Fear, and we will be back in, give us 3-4 minutes. And we're back. We're about to watch an episode of season 5 Simpsons, and then we're finished for the evening. Austin, it's been a lot of fun talking about this with you, man.
It has, yeah. And while I was gone, I thought of two more jokes I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
In the like pop culture reference, I guess. One of them is I love when Bart gets famous. We have him making a song with MC Hammer because that actually happened with Bart.
Yeah.
And the other one is I love their parody of Revolution Barney and Yoko Ono in the Barbershop Quartet.
Number 9.
It's like number 4, and then Barney burping that repeated.
Was it 4 or was it 9? I thought it was 9.
It's 9 in the actual song, but I think it's 4 in the episode.
Oh, I thought it was 9.
I could be wrong, because I think they changed the number just like for parody, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's fun, the different things that you and I each latch onto. Like, we end up talking about a lot more things than we would otherwise. Because there's, like...
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we both find some of the same things funny, but there's a whole, like, basket of things that hit you that don't hit me, and then possibly vice versa.
You're just still like, how did he pick March on the Lamb as his best episode?
No, not really.
That's crazy.
I mean, like I said, they're all good. You know what? You could have picked your least favorite episode as your best, and I would have been like, I mean, they're all good.
Yeah.
Although, admittedly, I do think that's bottom tier for the season. Like, if you had to rank them, like the one that the one that you actually picked, until you get to that after credits, and then or during the credits, and then it's amazing.
No, that's fair. March on the Lamb has where Lionel Hutz pulls out the knife, and he's like, "Wait a minute, this isn't the YMCA."
Okay, so
but I am good to go here.
Cool. It's gonna be Cape Fear. Everybody, get your episode rigged up. Get it at timestamp 0. Get ready to press play when we say now, or when I say now, and I expect Austin will do most of the talking.
It's just going to be me getting hit by a rake going.
This is one that I had seen as a kid, but it's not one that I know, like, super well.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch it, though, because I did my homework.
Oh, perfect.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Everybody, please press play right now.
Well, because like I said, this is everyone's favorite Sideshow Bob episode. Mine is the season 6 episode with him. I think that one's better, but this one is very classic.
Remind me what happens in that one.
That's the one where he runs for mayor.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, that one's really funny. Not that this one's not, but like that one's my favorite with him.
So my 7-year-old Mikey had never seen the show, or if he had, he didn't remember it. And we watched 3 or 4 episodes together, and every time you get Homer screaming with the car coming at him, he laughs like he's seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, that was my youngest brother when I showed him the show. He had the same thing where it's like, especially just the way his like mouth opens, where it goes really big. It just killed him every time it happened.
Is this the only episode this season where you get this entire intro?
It might be. We get the shortened intro through most of the season. And even when it's not a shortened one, like it's like the full shortened one without the chalkboard, like it's still cut down.
I was going to say, it gets shortened in different ways. And this is the only episode...
Yeah, because I've got a couple.
Where we get the whole, like, circus line thing. Because we did this 3 or 4 episodes last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one I like.
Was this a holdover from the previous season? Like, was this written by... Because like, there was a couple that were written by the other guys.
I'm not sure. I can look it up quickly.
Oh, yeah, McBain shows up a couple times this season.
Yeah.
But the idea
Yeah,
of,
and I like his bit here. I like you have like the SS guy that introduces him.
well, just the idea of basically Schwarzenegger as a late night talk show host is great.
Yeah. You must be a homosexual. Yes, it was originally for a like for season 4.
The writer was John Vitti, and I would have to look him up and see what he wrote in the previous
Oh yeah,
season.
he's like a pretty regular writer.
As I've said before, I do not know behind the scenes super well with the show.
Hmm.
So I try to do a little bit of cursory research before we start, but
Yeah.
in my list, I didn't read it, but in my runners up for best music choices, the murder theme in the score for this episode is actually on my list.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? It's
What's that?
very Shirley Walker. Like
Sure. Yeah.
it sounds like a villain theme in a Batman animated series episode, and
Hmm. I can see that.
it's actually really similar to the Mad Hatter theme.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's directly a parody of a song in Cape Fear because I've never seen either version, but it might be. It probably is.
Daniverse, what's the joke?
It's just that it sounds like a villain song.
I wonder if they do any other stuff later on with Mr. Burns discovering that he loves television, because that was the thing that I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, where he's watching Itchy and Scratch, and he's like way too into the murder.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. The Bart V is an underrated joke.
I love the Bart the.
Oh, wait, that theme is from the '60s Cape Fear film. That goes right over my head. I wouldn't have known that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's
Yeah, I
already
wondered
bringing up
if that's
Matlock.
We love Matlock.
Make fun of me if you want to. I have watched an episode of Matlock recently.
Why would I make fun of you for watching Matlock? We love Matlock.
I don't know. It sounds like you're making fun of me right now.
No. Matlock. When Matlock specifically is important in the next Sideshow Bob episode.
Oh, crazy. I appreciated the shadows from the monkey bars off the kids.
Hmm. Yeah, well, this episode in general is just really great animation. Really just atmospheric animation.
Well, they're trying to make it cinematic and make it feel like a horror thing.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I'll see what other really obvious, uninsightful things I can say while we're watching this.
I love that Flanders, his Freddy glove has a thumb one, but that still only equals up to 4, like the actual Freddy glove.
Yes, that's great.
Well, this is an episode that I also think gets a ton done, where we're gonna get all this stuff at the beginning, and then we're gonna get more just kind of, being menaced by Sideshow Bob through the middle, and then the full murder stuff in the third act.
Well, this is one of those episodes that you might not immediately think of as a tons of different random characters show up episode, but as we're looking back at it, like everybody's in this.
Yeah.
Like not actually, but several.
Mhm. Well, I also love the Thompsons thing in this. But you're right, we are just kind of like going, back to back, all these different side characters, like we kind of talked about. This is a good showcase of that.
Yeah, so this is
Miniature
where
pandas.
we find out about the side business that Mo has with exotic animals.
Andale, andale.
Jacob Bernowski is a name I don't recognize. Thanks for popping in. Really late at night. I love The Simpsons. My favorite episode is when Mulder and Scully come to town. That was my favorite as a kid, or way up there.
That's a great one.
I bring you love.
He's bringing love. Kill him.
Oh, here he is. Here he is. And he's not even wearing the orange jumpsuit in prison right now. Where does he wear this?
He wears that a couple
times.
Does
this happen?
Yeah.
Is my Sideshow Bob wrong?
He's colored incorrect.
Here, I'm going to turn this light off so people can actually see the sculpt. There he is. There's Sideshow Bob. Oh, that was a $9 word there, felicitous.
It's true. It's the type of stuff that's why they're paying Kelsey Grammer to say it.
Exactly. You see, everybody's in this.
I also feel like early on, each Sideshow Bob one has to be like, this is what he did the last couple episodes he's been in. And then eventually we'll just stop doing that.
Well, I like that they're making a big deal out of the continuity because they don't do that a lot with other things. So they do it with Sideshow Bob and they do it with Krusty. And in this season, they go down the litany of episodes with both of them.
Yeah. When I've always liked the first several Sideshow Bob episodes are very different, and then eventually we just settle into trying to recreate this episode.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of lame. Yeah, because eventually it just becomes, how is he going to try to kill Bart this time? But, like, even the ones directly after this aren't really doing that.
No, I think you want to mix it up where he can be menacing or he can be kind of the butt of jokes. And, like, here he's both. I'll make another Star Trek comparison. Sideshow Bob is kind of the Q of this show. And what was fun about Q is we would do a totally different thing with him every time we brought him back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's an interesting comparison. I do have a hard time imagining Sideshow Bob laughing in an Ernest movie.
Yeah. Why would that entertain him at all?
But he also didn't like the part that Homer laughed at, so...
Well, I'm also okay with the idea that he's kind of like a faux intellectual. And so if nobody's around, he might be as, like, least common denominator as everybody else in this town.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
But then he's got to kind of play up his...
How smart he is.
Yeah. And how cultured he is. The tattoos are hilarious.
Yeah. You got the love and hate tattooed across his hands.
That is pretty funny. With the umlaut to make it longer. Daniverse, they definitely tried to recap every single previous Sideshow Bob early on. I believe they stopped after Brother from Another Planet.
That's about what I was thinking, too. And that's when we bring over his brother from Frasier as Sideshow Bob's brother. I can't think of that actor's name.
This was one of the funnier Wiggum lines to me this season, when he's like, it doesn't work if you invite him.
That's a good one.
Anything he does in your house. Flanders!
Yeah, it doesn't work if you invite him.
That's even funnier retroactively when Homer becomes friends with him and is the most obnoxious friend in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Where did you get this truck?
From the prison store.
The prison store.
Oh, thank you, Daniverse. David Hyde Pierce, that's his name.
So, do you feel like there are places... Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that you were trying to come up with his name.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was just like, I don't remember it.
I don't know if I could have out of thin air, but I might have come up with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you feel like... We talked about this, I think, last season, and maybe this whole time we've been talking about this with these streams, but do you feel like, Austin, there are ever places where we make Homer too dumb, or can you not make Homer too dumb?
I mean, he gets dumber every season, and then we make fun of that in that Troy McClure clip show episode.
Okay.
So, I don't know, it doesn't really bother me, though. But it's definitely a thing where he's getting dumber each season. At least for a bit.
This scene was borderline for me.
Mm-hmm. I love this scene.
Like, no, it's funny.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have to kind of... I have sort of two minds about it, where it's like... We have to be somewhat inconsistent with his abilities and his intellect to be able to do jokes like this.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you could just as easily have a scene where the guy gives him a new name, and then he immediately responds to it, and nobody's going to go, well, wait a minute, he's not smart enough to answer like that.
Mm.
And so it's really just how smart you want him to be scene to scene, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's definitely just there for a gag.
That's probably partly why I'm not minding that we don't do as much legitimately heartwarming stuff. Because if this was season 2, I don't think I'd like that stuff as much.
Yeah. That's fair.
The anniversary of this episode is funny even if you haven't seen the Cape Fear Scorsese remake, and I have not. So I didn't even realize this was a direct parody of anything.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, that was what I was saying earlier. Is I've never seen either Cape Fear, but I do really like this episode.
I'm uncultured swine. The Thompsons opening is pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that it even breaks what happens, because they like run in to do a couch gag, and then we immediately cut back. They just pulled up.
That's true. I didn't catch that before.
That's so perfect.
Can I get a Homer action figure wearing the Witness Relocation Program shirt? That would be great.
Oh yeah, that's probably a skin in Hidden Run. I mean, it might not be, but I feel like that could be one. I want to know if he just did that noise once and they just replayed it, or if they kept getting him to do it.
That's a good question. It sure sounds like they recorded it one time and they just keep playing it, but... So I asked you earlier if they wrote this for the previous season. Now that we're looking at it again, I remember reading that they definitely did, and you already confirmed that they did. But I should have remembered that already, because apparently they were burnt out enough by the end of the season that they were kind of padding this episode out. So the rake gag is padded because the episode wasn't long enough, and then it became this iconic thing.
Yeah. Oh, everybody loves the rake gag, and every time we bring him back now, we have to do some sort of rake joke.
A joke really similar to that shows up in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie.
Oh, really? I don't remember that offhand. It's been a while since I've seen that. I've only seen it once.
There's these, like... I can't remember if it's, like, wallet creatures or what, but there's these creatures that just look like inanimate objects that will fly
Mhm.
up from the ground and smack you in the face.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Yeah.
kind of similar to the rake joke because like we just keep doing it and we like stop our characters in their tracks and they can't move forward. They just keep getting hit in the face. Like it's not exactly the same thing, but it reminds me of it.
But does it have?
I think
that's
it
one
does
of my
have something
favorite.
similar to that.
Oh, okay. That's another good Homer line. Is Bart walks in and he's like, "Sideshow Bob's trying to kill me," and Homer just yells, "Bart, don't interrupt!" Even though they weren't talking. Now we're at the Bates Motel.
Yeah, and complete with taxidermy even.
Yeah. It just is the Bates Motel.
Yeah, it's pretty great that it's just straight up the Bates Motel. You'd think Simpsons would put a different consonant on it?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
be like the Tate's Motel or something.
something like that. The State Motel.
Why do you have a chainsaw?
To go with his hockey mask.
Well, this would have been a little on the nose, but you know what it could have been, Austin?
What's that?
It could have been the Rakes Motel.
Oh, there you go. And then he gets his room and he goes.
And there's like rakes for decor, like on the walls.
They would do that now.
And he just goes. Ugh. They definitely do it now. Look at
Dad's
how
been
good this
drugged.
show looks.
No, he hasn't. It's so good.
I get really excited anytime they do that kind of shadow work where you get a lot of depth on the faces.
Yeah.
And that's real classic cartoons where you'll have the kind of like money shot scenes where you have a lot more depth, and then the rest of it is much more 2D and flat and less detailed.
And that's obviously a joke that's in the '66 Batman movie, but that was kind of the first place I'd ever really seen that kind of a thing. He goes to one side of the boat, there's the crocodile. He goes to the other side, it's the eels.
Yeah,
he
it's
goes
great.
back and it's the crocodile again, but it's great.
That always plays though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But the best part of the '60s Batman movie is when he goes over the water and there's ducks. This is like the smartest plan Bart has ever had.
Yeah. Also, with your thing about the production thing, I do like that there's a step every time we see it where it's like there's no production, then a little bit, then a little bit more, and eventually we'll have like the full flag. Like it's slowly building through the play.
Yeah, did you notice he's Waldo now?
Yeah, he was Waldo.
There's
'Cause he is
Thaldo.
an English
There
man.
he is.
There's Thaldo. There he is.
See, he's
There's
got a
the playbill.
playbill. Where did he get these costumes?
That's so good.
At least they're
Before he was
consistent.
wearing like a blanket at the start.
It's the same episode where Homer pulls a chainsaw out of nowhere. It's
Yeah.
like only certain rules apply for this episode. It feels like.
And he's got his flowers.
I could have almost seen this play out where you do kind of an intentionally sappy thing where Sideshow Bob has bonded with Bart over HMS Pinafore and then doesn't want to kill him anymore.
We do a thing like that where like they bonded, and so he's like, "I can't kill you now." In another episode later on, I think it's maybe like season like 11. It's like around there.
Okay. Someday, Austin.
One of these days, Alice. One of these days.
I mean, at the rate we've been going, it'll take 12 years. But,
Yeah, that's true too.
yeah, look, I'm not promising
22
anything.
years.
My intention is for this to come out more often than that. Oh, Daniver says season 14. Well, that would be even longer.
Oh, season 14. Yeah. Okay. I knew it was somewhere in like the teens. Yeah, because that's kind of a sequel to Homer's Enemy. It's weird.
I mean, I get why people love that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good one. It's one of those ones where it's not my favorite, but at the same time, like it's just very classic.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I get it.
It's ubiquitous. You got to have it.
Yeah, but then my favorite's Marge on the Lamb. So what do I know?
Well, I still think mine is probably nobody else's favorite either.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't hear that one come up as much, but that's a good episode.
I think it should.
Yeah, there's like maybe like 8 episodes that would probably make at least my top 20 of the show overall.
God, yeah, that's a crazy good season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Austin, do you have any final thoughts before we finish up? Before people don't see us for 2 more years?
I was gonna say, yeah, I'll see you all in 2 years. No, just in general, like I said, it's just my favorite period. So this and season 6 are just the best part of the show for me.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if I remember more of 6 than I have 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be excited to see what episodes that Fox affiliate was playing the most from what seasons when I was a child.
Yeah, no kidding. And which were on that CD that the Jeff had, like for songs.
Yeah. Well, because Dr. Zayas was there.
Okay, and that's 7 or 8. I think 8.
No, we've already done that.
No, we haven't had the Dr. Zayas song yet. That's later on.
What? Yes, we have.
No, because that's the Troy McClure Spotlight episode.
I mean, you know this show better than I do, but I swear to God, we talked about it.
We probably did talk about it because it's awesome, but no, that's like 7 or 8. Because that's kind of the last like big hurrah for that character. Unless it's 6, because I'm just bad at remembering seasons, but I'm pretty sure it's 7 or 8.
Sorry, I'm gonna do a little research here. I got to figure this out. Is it possible that they brought it back or something?
We did talk about it when we talked about Planet of the Apes. Could you be mixing it up with that?
It's possible. Yeah, everything I'm seeing says season 7, but I swear to God, what am I mixing this up with?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, wow. You just blew my brain up with this.
Because it's the role that Troy McClure was born to play, man from Planet of the Apes.
Because I know we had a stage production with a musical bit in another season, and like I'm probably mixing it up with whatever that was. But I really thought we talked about that.
No,
Yeah,
like I said, we probably have
I mean, like
it.
we watched it and talked about it, but I guess not.
Mm-hmm. No, not yet, not yet.
Okay,
Almost
crazy.
getting there.
Well,
No, that episode's got Jeff Goldblum as the guest role.
Oh wow. Well, give us 4 years and we'll get to that one.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I'm just gonna keep playing it up like this, and then we will shock everyone if we come back even a year from now. That's the strategy.
We'll shock everyone when it's 3 years.
Well, anyway, Austin, thanks for staying up crazy late with me to talk about The Simpsons.
Yeah,
again.
no worries. I'm always down to talk about The Simpsons. I love the show.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot for watching. If you're watching live or after the fact, we sure appreciate it. Tell us your favorite episodes in the comments, and we will see you again, hopefully soon-ish.
Exactly.
See you later, everybody. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin the Day Ghost.
Yeah, see ya, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Dun 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 dun.